Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Marvel, starting with the God of Destruction. Chapter 81. Boom. Holding the space gem, Thanos releases violent energy. The powerful force left a bottomless crack on the ground. Countless pieces of gravel were ground into powder. In the sky, anyone who came close to the Sky Blade Judgment Light Pillar, whether they were Chitauri warriors or huge amounts of motherships, were all torn apart by the energy generated by the explosion and were completely turned into nothingness. An apocalyptic scene enveloped the entire city of New York. This time, the whole world seemed silent. Everyone is amazed by the power of Angel and Thanos. Such a general force, even if the entire United States is gathered together, cannot compete with it. The smoke cleared and the wind and sand in the sky dissipated. All superheroes, civilians throughout the city of New York, spread to the media across the planet. Everyone stared at the deep pit in the center of the smoke. With such power, even if he was really a god, he probably wouldn't be able to survive. Boom, boom, boom. There was a disturbing sound of footsteps. Thanos' golden armor has become tattered. There were also bloodstains on the steel-like arms. Thanos was angry. He never thought that he would be injured in the hands of several unknown angels. Everyone on this planet, leave no one behind. Thanos roared angrily. Not to mention the people on Earth. Even the Chitauri brought by Thanos were frightened to death by Thanos' momentum. But the two figures falling on the horizon formed a sharp contrast. At this moment, the Earth seems to be in desperate situation. Even the powerful Angel has been defeated. Who can stop that terrible monster? Earth, it's over. Has even Angel failed? Who else can stop him? Oh God, appear. That shouldn't be a monster in our world. Countless people collapsed and shouted, and some even began to kneel on the ground and pray to God. Fear, despair and helplessness spread in everyone's hearts. At the top of an unknown building, Liang Bing was standing side by side with Ancient One. It's like they have been friends for many years. If someone who doesn't know meets them, they will definitely think that the relationship between the two is very friendly. But the last time they met, they just had a fight. By the way, aren't you an Asgardian from Earth? Why haven't you taken action yet? Liang Bing asked Ancient One. You know, when Liang Shui first came to Earth and met the Ancient One, he was expelled by the other party. But now, Ancient One is just standing here. Although Thanos is very strong, Liang Bing dares to say that if she is not injured, she can play with this little titan in various ways. At least, she, Demon Queen Morgana, would never be injured in the hands of three high-level angels. And Thanos is no match for the Ancient One's mysterious methods. But now, the Ancient One is just watching Thanos destroy it quietly, and it seems that he has no intention of taking action. The Earth will be fine, Ancient One said calmly. It's not that the Ancient One doesn't want to take action, it's that she can't take action. She is just a mortal. Although she has power comparable to that of a god, she is still a mortal. Lifespan is limited after all. Over the years, I have relied on stealing the power of the dark dimension to survive. But every time she steals the power of the dark dimension, she will be eroded by the dark power of Dormammu, and now she has reached her limit. If she were to steal the power of the dark dimension, she might just become Dormammu's slave. The last time I took action against Liang Bing, it took most of the time. Now, she has no extra strength to escape and destroy the house. Now she must find a suitable successor in the shortest possible time. Definitely, the most important thing is that the Ancient One has seen the future and everything will be fine on Earth. Oh, then the last time you took action against me, did you see that I would affect the Earth in the future? Liang Bing asked curiously. No one is not interested in their own future, not even God. No, I don't see anything about your future. That's why I'm stalking you. Time Gem cannot detect anything involving that adult, whether it is the past or the future. Obviously, Liang Bing's future is still completely entangled with that adult. As a result, Liang Bing's future cannot be detected by the eye of Agamotto. After Ancient One finished speaking, she disappeared from the spot. Obviously, she already knew the outcome of this battle and had no interest in continuing to watch. Definitely, the main reason is that the Ancient One does not want to cause any trouble, so she has lost the ability to protect the Earth before she can teach a new successor. Exploring the future. What an interesting ability. Looking at the disappearing Ancient One, Liang Bing touched his chin and murmured to himself. On the other side, Thanos BFCH walked step by step towards Angel, who had completely lost the ability to resist. He wanted to show those angels what would happen if they angered a God King level powerhouse. Thanos' palm grabbed Angel Yan, who fell to the ground. Yan's neck was pinched tightly by Thanos' big hands. Angel, have you decided how to die? What, do you regret it? Thanos was a little embarrassed. He didn't see the slightest look of fear or despair in Angel Yan's eyes. Only fearlessness and dedication. Ha ha ha, it's not a pity to die for justice. How about regrets? Thanos, before long, the sword of justice will be placed on your neck and you will stand up for your actions. Angel Yan will never give in to anyone even if she dies. What's more, fighting to death for justice. Isn't this the ending that Angel longs for most? It's a pity that she has never met a person worthy of protecting her for the rest of her life. Otherwise, it would be perfect. It's a pity that she doesn't have any strength now, otherwise, she would not make it easy for Thanos. Okay, if that's the case, then go die. Thanos was angry. A little angel dared to humiliate him again and again. He really thought that Thanos had no temper. Stop. A laser shot at Thanos. The force hit Thanos directly in the face. Thanos was completely angry after being repeatedly interrupted. Even though the laser did not hurt him at all, it successfully ignited his anger. You can call us Avengers. Tony Stark, along with all the superheroes, appeared in front of sterilization. Gwen, Jean, Thor, Natasha Romanoff, and Rogers lined up next to Tony Stark. Angel has paid enough for them, and he can no longer lose his life for the Earth. The Earth should be protected by themselves. Since you want to die so much, I will make it happen for you. Forget about Angel, they were a bunch of mortals, why did they dare to appear in front of Thanos? The mountain like Wea suddenly erupted. The Avengers were so overwhelmed that they could hardly breathe. However, no one took a step back. Wait a minute, Lord Thanos, Loki suddenly shouted from the side. He is Odin's son, can you let him go? Critical moment. Loki still wanted to save Thor's life. Only sons of Odin die standing. There are no Asgardians who live on their knees. Without waiting for an answer, Thor spoke first. Then, Thor waved the hammer in his hand and rushed towards Thanos step by step with firm steps. None of the superheroes behind him took a step back, and they all stepped forward one after another. Everyone knew that they could not defeat Thanos, but no one backed down. They are the superheroes of the Earth, and they have something they must protect. Maybe at this moment, they felt a little despair in their hearts, but there was no fear at all. At this moment, the atmosphere above the Earth suddenly rolled irregularly. The whole cloud was rolling, as if to welcome someone's arrival. Clouds were rolling in the sky, and a holy light cut through the sky, sweeping away all the surrounding Kurita warships. As long as Chidori comes into contact with the light, everything will be instantly reduced to ashes. The remaining Chidori battleships began to retreat one after another, and half the sky was cleared in a moment. The sky was blue again. A huge, extremely gorgeous sword fell from the sky and floated over the city of New York. Dozens of angels surround the throne, flying in an orderly manner. At the end of the hilt of the sword is a majestic and rich throne. A pretty figure sat above the throne. The terrifying Wea suddenly enveloped all living creatures on the earth. The power, like the power of God, arouses a kind of heartfelt awe in all living beings on the earth. On the gorgeous throne, a pair of majestic eyes slowly looked down. Her stunning face seemed to be carefully painted in a painting. If the shoulders are cut into shape, the waist will be as plain as expected. The neck is extended to show off the neck, and the beauty is revealed. Fragrance is not added, and the lead is beautiful. The cloud bun is in AA, and the eyebrows are trimmed in Liangwan. The red lips are bright on the outside, the teeth are white on the inside, the eyes are bright and good at gazing, and the dimples support the power. Kesha sitting on the throne is so noble, like a goddess, sacred and inviolable. She is also like an unparalleled queen with great power and the heart of the world. With the appearance of Angel, the whole world became silent again. At the same time, everyone also knew that they seemed to be saved. Thanos, who gave you the courage? You dared to run wild in the place where Angel is guarding, and even injured my angel. Kesha on the throne slightly crossed her legs, with an indifferent look in her eyes, as if she didn't care about Thanos at all. This bitcha is still so annoying. On the building in the distance, Liang Bing watched Kesha's arrival and frowned. She didn't even need to think that she must be the reason Kesha was able to reach Earth so quickly. Holy Kesha, you are too arrogant, Thanos, who was standing on the ground, also said without giving in. If he had met Kesha in the universe before, Thanos would have turned around and run away without any hesitation. But now, what he is holding is the space gem. Feeling the powerful power of this gem gave Thanos the confidence to fight Kesha. Arrogant, Kesha shook her head slightly, as if she didn't understand why Thanos would call her arrogant. Let's take it easy. Put Yan down and accept the punishment of justice, Kesha said calmly, and there was no hint of happiness or sadness in her expression and tone. What if I don't? These angels are all so annoying. Yeah, Kesha waved her hand. A handful of huge amounts of silver wings were drawn from the void. Thanos definitely knows the power of dark silver weapons. He subconsciously hid to one side. With the wave of Kesha's other hand, another silver wing fights towards Thanos. Facing the sharp silver wings, even Thanos holding the space gem has to avoid the sharp edge temporarily. But Silver Wing's speed was too fast, and it didn't take long before Mieko reached the point where he could no longer hide. In desperation, Thanos threw Angel Yan in his hand towards one of the silver wings, hoping to use it to resist Kesha's offensive. However, what Thanos didn't expect was that Silver Wing disappeared when he was about to contact Angel Yan. Immediately afterwards, Silver Wing rushed towards him at an even faster speed. Only then did Thanos understand that Kesha was planning to hurt Angel Yan just now. Therefore, he kept his hands on his hands and controlled the speed of Silver Wing within the range of complete control. And once Angel Yan is rescued, it will be the unscrupulous Kesha who greets Thanos. Seeing Angel Yan being thrown out, Jishin immediately stepped forward to catch Angel Yan. However, there was a figure who was faster than her, and that person turned out to be Angel Lang, who had always been at odds with Yan. It's really embarrassing, Yan. Angel Lang quickly supported Yan. I never imagined that you, Yan, would be here today. After realizing that Angel Yan's injuries were not serious, Lang mocked mercilessly again. After all, there aren't many times when Angel Yan is in such an embarrassing situation. The battle on the other side seems to be coming to an end. Thanos tried to hide behind the buildings, but those buildings were like tofu in front of Silver Wing. Boom! Thanos was pinned to the ground by Kesha's two silver wings. It's too strong. Is this the strength of the King of Angels? Tony Stark said in disbelief. In their eyes, Thanos, who was invincible, was placed in Kesha's hands without any hesitation. This battle is a complete crushing without any suspense. Roar! Thanos roared angrily, trying to lift up the silver wings pressing on him, but it still had no effect. From beginning to end, Kesha never even left her throne. Thor began to doubt that even if his father came, he could really sit still like Holy Kesha and rescue the hostages in less than 10 minutes. Suppress Thanos. Kesha ignored the roaring Thanos, but instead gathered 3 rays of pure light and began to heal Angel Yan, Angel Azu and Angel Moi. Queen. After being cured, the 3 of them knelt on one knee in front of Kesha, seeming to beg for punishment. You did a good job, don't blame yourself. Kesha comforted Yan softly. Queen, Morgana is on Earth. Will she execute the Sky Blade judgment? Anglian continued to report to Holy Kesha. Really, find out the location of Morgana and execute the Heavenly Sword judgment. Kesha said vigorously. Yes. The angels beside Kesha spread their wings and flew high one by one, starting to look for Morgana's location. This bitcha. Morgana stood on the cold ice on the roof of a building somewhere. He was gritting his teeth and watching Kesha's every move in the sky. He thought that Kesha would follow her to the earth, but he didn't expect that Kesha would come so quickly. And took down Thanos so easily. The seemingly arrogant Thanos did not consume any of Kesha's physical strength at all. Going out now would be the same as Liang Bing, who was seriously injured, fighting against Kesha in her prime. Even if Liang Bing is not injured, he is probably no match for Kesha. But even if you don't go out, Angel can quickly find her on the earth using his methods. Liang Bing gritted his teeth and said, Kesha didn't come early or late, but she came at this time. Really good at picking your time. Roar! Thanos, who was pressed under the silver wings, began to exert force, but it was still difficult to shake Kesha's silver wings for a moment. Thanos' Black Order also took action. All Chidori's troops also began to attack Angel. Definitely, Holy Kesha has no intention of taking action against these third-rate armies in Angel's eyes and will not take action. In the known universe, Angel is the civilization with the strongest single-soldier combat capability. The plastic surgery composed of dozens of high-level escort angels is enough to show terrifying combat power. The endless Kurita army began to attack Angel's defenses. However, this battle allowed everyone to see it. The horror of Angel. Dozens of people versus an army of millions. No matter how strong he is, he will kill until he is weak. However, a devastating battle unfolded above the earth. One angel can easily deal with one or more Chidori main ships. Boom. Even species with the strongest individual combat capabilities have near-perfect coordination. This also makes Angel look even more terrifying. Angel took the lead. Navigate the Chidori fleet with impunity. Every time it was hacked, it was the death of a main ship. Black Order wanted to rescue Thanos, who was suppressed by Silver Wings, but was easily blocked by Angel Jixin, Angel Fengxing and Angel Lingxi. Oh my god, is this Angel? He's so powerful. Yes, our army has almost no power to resist the invasion of aliens. But Angel's dealing with aliens is as easy as crushing ants. Countless people lamented the power of angels. They originally thought that the three angels just now were already a few powerful angels, but they did not expect that there are so many powerful angels. Not to mention being from Earth. Even Thor felt that if Kesha took these angels to attack Asgard, Asgard might not be able to stop it. Even if the battle between the father and Kesha is indistinguishable, who among these dozens of angels and Asgards can stop them? No wonder, Asgard has spread its faith throughout the universe before unifying the 9 realms. Fortunately, Angel adheres to this concept of absolute justice. Not only will it not actively invade any planet, it will even help some weak civilizations. Otherwise, if Kesha is killed like Thanos, it will be a disaster for the entire universe. At this moment, Liang Bing has obviously felt that it won't take long for Kesha to find him. No, if this continues, Kesha will find her sooner or later. Morgana decided to strike first. At least the idiot Thanos can definitely be reused. A huge amount of interstellar projection appeared over the entire city of New York. That's Sister Liang Bing. Qin and Gwen immediately recognized that the huge figure that appeared in the sky was Liang Bing, who had been with them day and night during this period. Now Liang Bing is not dressing up as the non-mainstream Morgana, but is using her own makeup. Oh, Kesha was also a little surprised. She had not seen her sister without makeup in more than 10,000 years. In the past, Liang Bing always appeared in non-mainstream outfits. Claiming that she is the Demon Queen Morgana, this is what she should look like. Now I don't know that the Tendon is wrong again. He actually regained his original appearance and appeared in front of him. Holy Kesha, you fool. You are chasing us all over the universe to convict us. It's because she created a so-called order, the Order of Justice. You are the one making the judgment, Kesha alone. In the sky, Liang Bing's projection told everyone what Kesha's movement of justice was like. That's God's judgment. Kesha looked at Erlang's legs and said to Liang Bing with interest. God's judgment. God's judgment can sacrifice countless people. Liang Bing asked disdainfully. It's not because of you. Kesha said calmly. A system that sacrifices countless people. It's called justice. Liang Bing. Justice is justice. Even if it is decided by God, it is justice. Kesha. The earth is beautiful. Get out. I will fight with you to the end for the freedom of the earth. Liang Bing stretched out his index finger, pointed at Kesha, and said firmly. It's absolutely crazy. This is an extremely evil devil, and the entire universe can punish him. Why do I think gods shouldn't communicate with mortals? Once there is communication, mortals will see the emotional side of God, so that even beliefs such as justice will be doubted. This is Morgana's evil idea. Why can't I understand what they are saying? On the ground, Tony Stark asked Thor, the most knowledgeable of them all. Ahem. They are arguing about ideas and beliefs. They have always acted in a very noble manner. Thor coughed lightly and explained to everyone with his eyes wandering. But, No matter how I look at it, it looks like I'm tearing. Rogers stood up and said, but before he could finish speaking, Thor covered his mouth. Be careful. With the God King level of perception, we are probably within their perception range. Be careful that trouble comes from your mouth. Yeah, Rogers nodded repeatedly. He just saw that Thanos, who was originally invincible in the eyes of everyone, was played by Kesha like a child. As for the other one, although Morgana and everyone have never seen her take action, she is definitely not a simple person who can fight with Kesha for tens of thousands of years. Haha, you are just a dictator. You can go and see how many civilizations in the entire universe have succumbed to the order of justice because of your strength. Liang Bing spoke again. But freedom is different. Freedom is the common pursuit of everyone. Even if I don't need to use any force, there will still be countless warriors fighting for freedom. Liang Bing spoke passionately. Why do I say that gods should not communicate with mortals? Once they communicate, mortals will see the emotional side of gods. They will think about right and wrong, so that even beliefs such as justice can be doubted. If I want to eliminate Morgana, I can just let a thunderbolt fall from the sky. This is called God's will. Now that I am sitting here asking you if you agree, I have become a dictatorship. Kesha retorted verbally. You made me laugh so hard. But in my eyes, you are not a god. You are even more unintentional. Liang Bing hates Kesha, mostly because of Kesha's arrogance, dictatorship, unwillingness to listen to dissuasion, and insistence on going her own way. Hey, after listening to them talking for 15 minutes, why do I feel that Morgana seems like a good person, while the holy Kesha sitting on the chair is more like a bad person? Rogers, an upright veteran, obviously does not understand the beliefs between gods. What a difference. But listening to the conversation between Kesha and Liang Bing, it seems that the Demon Queen wants to protect the Earth and fight for the Earth. Kesha became the intruder instead. This is probably the charm of language. If Angel hadn't just fought tooth and nail to protect the Earth, these superheroes might have been deceived by Morgana into becoming enemies with Kesha. After all, Kesha is too arrogant, making it difficult for people to like her. Are you talking human language? Tony Stark immediately interrupted Rogers. After what happened just now, Tony Stark has completely become Angel's lover. We all know that Demon Queen Morgana is also a God King level powerhouse, but she is the kind of powerhouse that can rival Kesha, King of Angels. Moreover, Morgana has arrived on Earth a long time ago. But when the Earth was in trouble just now, have you seen Morgana take action? Who's guarding us? It's Angel, Tony Stark growled at Rogers. Well, demons are indeed very good at deceiving people, especially honest people like the captain. Thor also nodded. Said in agreement. Thor would never tell these people, and he also knew that Morgana's words made perfect sense. Devil, are you talking about Sister Liang Bing? Gwen was a little unbelievable. These people actually said that Sister Liang Bing, who usually takes good care of them, is actually a devil. How is this possible? As a result, during this period of getting along, Gwen has completely recognized Liang Shui. But then I thought about the scene where I met Angel Yan in the mall that day, and now Sister Liang Bing is talking to the holy Kesha through the air. These things seem very possible. Definitely, that projection in the sky is the projection of Demon Queen Morgana. Tony Stark pointed to Liang Bing's projection and explained to Gwen. Devil, although Chin has a good relationship with Liang Bing, she is not as dependent as Gwen. No wonder Liang Bing would say don't worry about her, she is stronger than us. But, the kind-hearted Gwen still wanted to defend Liang Bing. Little girl, no matter how close she was to you in the past, remember to stay away from her in the future. She is a murderous demon. Thor also stood up and persuaded. After all, anyone who meets a just and kind-hearted little girl like Gwen will fall in love with her. But I still believe that Sister Liang Bing must be a good person. There must be some misunderstanding in this. Gwen said firmly that she did not believe that Sister Liangshui would be a bad person. Are you actually saying that the Demon Queen is not a bad person? Thor laughed angrily. He didn't know what kind of ecstasy soup Morgana poured into Gwen, but he decided to use reality to wake up the little girl who was confused by the devil. After all, long-term pain is worse than short-term pain. Even though Gwen will be sad for a while now, it's better than being tempted by the devil. If you say Demon Queen Morgana is not a bad person, then I think there are probably not many people in this universe who can be called bad people. Morgana will spread her ideas and demonic genes to that civilization whenever she reaches a civilization. And the civilization descended by Morgana will completely lose order and become a paradise for demons preying on the jungle. In this way, Morgana constantly collects demon warriors to fight against Angel. There are countless civilizations in the universe that Morgana has destroyed. Thor begins to accuse Gwen of all of Morgana's crimes in the universe. On the contrary, Angel's appearance usually saves a civilization and is in crisis. This is why Angel's reputation spreads throughout the universe, while the devil is notorious throughout the universe. Even so, Gwen still found it hard to believe. In the sky, the conversation between Kesha and Liang Bing also came to an end. Okay, the teasing is over. Let me find you where you are. Kesha turned away and began to search for all Liang Bing's data with her own eyes of insight. Holy Kesha, you are too arrogant. I tell you, you are not far from death. Liang Bing continued to shout. Noisy. Kesha waved her hand, and the shadow of cold water disappeared into the sky. Oh, I found you. You are standing right in front of me, how brave you are. After a while, Kesha found Liang Bing's exact location. What Kesha didn't expect was that Liang Bing was actually in this city. If it were before, Liang Bing would probably hide far away if he saw her across the galaxy. But this time, Liang Bing didn't choose to escape, which was really abnormal. You didn't run away. What was the reason that made you dare to face me? Kesha put one hand on her crossed leg, touched her chin and thought deeply. Why should I run away? It's you who should leave. A pair of huge amounts of pitch-black mechanical wings appeared behind Liang Bing, taking Liang Bing to fly high into the sky, directly to the place opposite Kesha. In front of Kesha, Liang Shui never showed off her angel's white wings. I really can't think of any reason why you dared to face me directly, but it doesn't matter, just let me take a look for myself. Kesha opened her eyes of insight and read Liang Bing's data unscrupulously. Dear readers, you may not know how uncomfortable I am today. I worked so hard to write a chapter, and then it was swallowed up by the coding software. Do you know how bad news this is for a handicapped gangster? So I had to redraw it and write it again for over an hour. Oh, how interesting. You meet a male god on Earth, and you want to be his guardian angel. Kesha began to read Morgana's information. In front of Kesha, Liang Bing seemed naked, without any secrets. I really want to see what kind of male god you like. Kesha said to Liang Bing with a smile like a sister. Once upon a time, when they were still sisters, the two of them even said that they would marry the most perfect male god in the universe in the future. If the relationship between the two is normal, Kesha will definitely be happy when she learns that Liang Bing has someone she likes. It's a pity that they can't go back. I'm really curious, what kind of male god have you found? Will he be as evil as you? Kesha continued. Start looking down. Just keep reading my information. I know that when I meet you, you will inevitably laugh at my ignorance and incompetence. Liang Bing said through gritted teeth. Liang Shui had nothing to do about Kesha reading her data. Oh, what kind of male god is he? I can't get any data at all. Kesha said with some surprise. What kind of male god do I look for? What does it matter to you? It doesn't matter much anymore. Oh, you seem to be injured. You didn't run away immediately when you were injured, but you appeared in front of me. It's unbelievable. So what if you're injured? I can still beat you up. Liang Bing shouted. If she had not been injured at this time, she would have rushed up to fight with Kesha. How could she stand here and let Kesha keep reading her information? While Liang Bing was talking to Kesha, the entire first level of demons had already arrived over the city of New York. Waves of space ripples appeared in the void. Thousands of demons armed with various weapons opened up from the space ripples. Their number is much smaller than that of Chidori, but anyone can see it. These hundreds of demon warriors alone can easily kill the entire Chidori Legion. After all, the devil and angel are fighting a war of individual ability. Even in terms of technology alone, I don't know if it's tens of thousands of years ahead of Chidori. Moving up to the aerospace level civilization, individuals who have not undergone strengthening are really too small. In the words of angels and demons, they are mortals. Each demon elite formed a formation behind Liang Bing, ready to go. As long as Liang Bing gives an order, all demon warriors can join the battle instantly. Okay, the teasing is over. Let's die. Following Kesha's order, all the angels surrounding Kesha rushed forward immediately. The devil also started to fight back immediately. For a time, the fight between the devil and Angel was inextricable. Oh my god, I thought Angel was already incredibly powerful. I'm afraid it's the only one in the universe. You know, with just a few dozen angels, all the fleets brought by Thanos were tortured into a life of doubt. Chidori didn't even hurt a single angel. However, the Chidori fleet in the sky cannot solve Angel. But at this moment, the demon, who was not that big of a king and was insignificant compared to Chidori, was inextricably linked to Angel for a while. Chidori has finally seen it. What does it mean when gods fight and mortals suffer? In the individual combat system, each soldier is extremely powerful and experienced in hundreds of battles. He is also good at using everything around him to help him gain an advantage. And the sky was empty. White obstacles and bunkers become Chidori's fleet. But Chidori's fleet is too fragile in the eyes of both angels and demons. It is so fragile that it cannot be used as a cover at all, and can only temporarily block the line of sight. But even so, the Chidori fleet was still shot down one by one. Angel and Devil, neither of them intentionally targeted Chidori. But Chidori's losses are far greater than those of Angel and Demon. Looking at Kesha sitting firmly on the throne, Liang Bing took the lead and attacked Kesha with two dark silver chains at an extremely fast speed. There are two young angel warriors who want to block Morgana's chain for Kesha. But it was easily penetrated. Then fell. Morgana is so strong. Thor sighed, because one of the angels who was penetrated by Morgana was the same angel who beat up Apocalypse who beat him up. Judging from the record, Apocalypse can beat Thor. But he was chased and beaten by Angel. Doesn't it prove that Angel is far stronger than Thor? But now, an angel who was far stronger than him was chasing him, and he attacked at the same time with another angel, but he couldn't survive Morgana's move. Doesn't that prove that even Thor can't survive 10 moves in Morgana's hands? Unfortunately, the stupid gang of Avengers Alliance still want to drag him to deal with Morgana. Isn't this looking for death? Thor once again gained a new understanding of Morgana's combat power. But Liang Bing's dark silver chain began to collapse on its own when it reached Kesha. Kesha was not hurt at all. Originally, Thor thought Morgana was powerful enough, but after seeing Kesha's calm demeanor, Thor said he had a new understanding of power. Immediately afterwards, Kesha waved her hand, suppressing one of Thanos' silver wings, and slashed towards Liang Shui at a speed that cut through the space. A dark palm emerged from the void, blocking the slashing silver wings. However, huge amounts of impact force still shook Liang Bing's injured blood. Pissed, spit out a mouthful of blood. Her injuries are too serious now, and she is completely unable to compete with Kesha on her own. Sisters, do you really want me to die so ugly? When you rebelled against Tiancheng, you didn't think of me as a sister. Obviously, Kesha did not become waterproof to Liang Bing because of Liang Bing's injury. Oh my god. Holy Kesha is so terrifying. She injured Morgana so easily. On the ground, countless superheroes and mortals lamented the power of Kesha, Hao Nuo Jiao. In just a short period of time since Kesha's arrival, she has defeated the universe overlord Thanos and the demon queen Morgana, which is simply terrifying. Snort. As Liang Bing hid one hand behind his back, he turned slightly. A pitch-black devil's claw crashed into the angel's silver wings, suppressing Thanos at extremely fast speeds. Roar. Originally, after losing one silver wing, Thanos' pressure was greatly reduced. Now, with the help of Liang Bing, Thanos finally gets out of trouble. Holy Kesha, I'm going to make you pay. After escaping, Thanos roared at Kesha. Oh, are you planning to unite? However, the weak are still weak after all. Even if they unite, they are still weak. Kesha said, still in her arrogant tone. Liang Bing and Thanos are not taken seriously at all. In the dark universe, 3 figures were sailing at extremely fast speeds. In just a few moments, several galaxies were left behind. Even the speed of light is not 1,000th of the speed of 3 people. Vegito, we haven't seen each other for so long, have you ever thought about me? Infinite stared at Vegito with big watery eyes and a pitiful expression. No, then why did you come to see me suddenly? To find annihilation. Really? Do you really not miss me at all? Infinite was chattering endlessly, looking for a topic to talk to Vegito. On the other side, Eternity folded his arms and turned his head in the completely opposite direction to Vegito. But his eyes would glance towards Vegito and Infinite from time to time. Where should we go next? Another star field yielded nothing. This way. Infinite walked around, pointing in 10 directions. 2. Are you sure? At the speed of the three of them, they had searched countless star fields in less than a day. The result was nothing. You know, the file size of a star field, even the King of Angels, Holy Kesha, may take several months to travel completely. If we use Teoti's spaceship, I'm afraid it will take hundreds or even thousands of years. That way. Infinite immediately changed his hand and pointed in another direction. By the way, you are here to take me to find annihilation? Vegito asked. As one of the creator gods of this universe, is it really okay for you to be so unreliable? Definitely. I am very serious about searching for annihilation with Vegito. Infinite said definitely. Even the Eternity and Infinity that are both creation gods have not seen annihilation for more than tens of millions of years. Moreover, the whereabouts of the creator god are erratic. Except for Galactus, who has huge amounts of entities, other gods are really hard to find. Therefore, Infinity decided to release his breath and travel throughout the universe. In this way, you can not only accompany Vegito to find annihilation, but also ride Vegito and travel the universe together. It couldn't be more romantic. What? Don't you believe Vegito? Infinite's big eyes became teary again. It seems that the next moment, tears will fall. No, I believe you are really helping me find annihilation. Vegito looked away. I know that Vegito will definitely believe me, BFDH. Infinite, who was originally tearful, suddenly seemed to be a different person, becoming happy and smiling. But I don't trust your intelligence. Originally, Vegito thought that Eternity and Infinity, who are both the creator gods of this universe, would know more or less vague information about annihilation. But now it seems that it is just two people dragging away the bottle. Vegito felt that if he really followed Infinite to find annihilation, he would probably have to find the year of the monkey, the horse and the moon. He must do something. Otherwise, he would really be following Infinity around. On Earth, Thanos, holding the space gem, has arrived in front of Kesha. Originally, even with Thanos's Titan body, he could not hold the infinite gems for a long time without any protection measures. This is a reference to the movie. Thanos roared in pain when he took out the Power Stone and held it. However, it was too strong at first. Even with the space gem in hand, Destroyer may not be Kesha's opponent. Help the demons fight Angel. Thanos ordered the Black Order and his troops behind him. Thanos's army is not strong, at least when it comes to Angel and demons. However, when the Demon One was used as the main ship, the Kurita Legion began to cover the demon's attack. The tables began to turn. In Devil Number 1, the Nightmare Black Wind takes action, and the sky begins to turn black all day long. Countless black mist began to wrap around Flight's Angel in the sky. Harassed by the black wind, coupled with the harassment from the demons and Thanos Legion, Angel began to retreat steadily and had to shrink the battle circle around Kesha. A Chidori warrior couldn't believe that he was contaminated with a trace of black mist, and instantly turned into a puddle of pus. All the demons and members of Thanos' army who are chasing Angel have even begun to approach the holy Kesha. Didn't you tell these stinky fish and rotten shrimps not to come close to my sacred territory? Holy Kesha is still sitting on her throne, as if as long as she is still standing here, Angel cannot lose. Some of the demons around Holy Kesha, as well as Thanos men, were all imprisoned in midair. As Kesha clenched her palms, silver blades appeared from the bodies of these demons, turning all of these enemies into quill. And Kesha's behavior made everyone on the earth jump. In the battle just now, there were many high-level demons who suppressed Angel in a one-on-one battle. But now, Yi Ran was played by Kesha so easily. Retreat, don't get close to Kesha's sacred realm. Liang Bing and Thanos ordered almost simultaneously. Everyone retreat. But the queen is still there. It doesn't matter, Kesha's sacred domain can't solve the queen's fourth-generation divine body yet. In the sky, all the demons retreated back at extremely fast speeds. They have met Professor Angel more than once, so they naturally know Angel's fighting style very well. Let me show you what real power is. Kesha stood up and opened her arms as if to embrace the whole world. A huge amount of silver blade appeared behind Kesha. These silver blades are all weapons made of Ansu silver. It's so sharp that it can even easily cut off Liang Bing's 4th-generation divine body. Do you think there is nothing I can do if you escape from my domain? The silver blade floated forward and began to spin, forming a tornado. As the speed of the silver blade's rotation continued to accelerate, the tornado became larger and larger. The terrifying tornado began to stir up the black fog in the sky. A terrifying scene formed. Countless demons and Chidori warriors were caught in the storm formed by the silver blade. Once caught in the storm of silver blades, even in a hard divine body, the only way out is to be cut into pieces. Fortunately for the demons who had the technical support of demon number 1 space wormhole, most of them quickly withdrew from Kesha's blade storm. But Thanos' legions were not so lucky. With the flight speed of an aerospace-grade civilization, it is impossible to escape from the sword storm of Holy Kesha. In a matter of seconds, the entire sky was cleared and clear again. There is no more Chidori or spaceship left in the sky. Everyone did not expect that the alien fleet would fill the sky. The King of Angels, Holy Kesha, just waved her hand and they were all wiped out. Moreover, Kesha did this in front of Thanos and Morgana. No wonder, Kesha said she could be God's will. With such fighting power, it would not be difficult for Kesha to destroy the entire Earth by herself. If Kesha really wants to take action against the Earth, then in the eyes of the people on Earth, it will really be God's will. After all, with the current strength of the Earth alone, it is impossible to resist Kesha no matter what. Suffer death. Although the army in the sky was cleared by Kesha, Liang Bing's heart did not waver at all. The demons under her command have long been transferred through wormhole technology. Even those who escaped slowly and were killed by Kesha can still be resurrected using demon genes. As for Thanos, there is even less to do. His original purpose was to snatch infinite gems and cause death. Even if the ones destroyed by Kesha were replaced by the most elite Dark Order under his command, he would not be affected at all, let alone this kind of cannon fodder. Think of it as honoring Lady Death. Liang Bing's 2 pairs of demon claws synthesized one. A devil's claw with a city the size of Phile appeared in the sky above New York City. Everyone has no doubt that if this palm is struck, it can easily destroy a city. Dear me, no wonder a God King level master can easily shake the planet. Now I understand, Tony Stark said in amazement. Sister Liangbing. Even Gwen and Qin didn't expect Liang Bing to be so powerful. Huge amounts of palms, carrying unparalleled power, slapped Kesha. Even the people on Earth who have seen Kesha's power can't help but sweat for Kesha. Facing the devil's claws pressing towards her, Kesha didn't panic at all and waved her hands. 2 silver wings streaked across the sky, blocked in front of Kesha at an extremely fast speed. Like the sound of a bell ringing throughout the United States. It made everyone's ears buzz. Morgana's demonic claws collided with Kesha's sacred wings. Demonic claws mixed with terrifying power. After hitting the silver wing, it was difficult to make any progress. Is this all you have power? Kesha received it disdainfully. The silver wings that resisted the devil's claws began to move upwards, pushing up huge amounts of the devil's claws. Liang Bing used both hands to push down the devil's claw, resisting Kesha's strength. How naive, my silly sister. Looking at Liang Bing's serious look, Kesha couldn't help but be amused. With a slight snap of his fingers, the 2 pairs of silver wings merged into one, becoming extremely sharp. Easily cut the devil's claw made of Tongtiku Ansu silver into 2 halves. I've been waiting for you for this moment. A purple cloud appeared in the sky above Kesha, and countless chains emerged from it. The silver wings entangled Kesha. What are you waiting for? After wrapping Kesha's silver wings, Liang Bing hurriedly shouted to Thanos on the side. HMPH, you don't need to teach me. Thanos' huge fist tightly grasped the infinite gems in his palm. A powerful force is destroying Thanos' palm. While mastering extremely powerful power, Thanos' palms were filled with cracks. Countless blue lights have begun to shine through the cracks. Go to hell, Holy Kesha, Thanos roared. The terrifying energy mixed with the power of space blasted towards Kesha. HMPH, if it's not my own strength, it won't be of any use even the next day. Kesha's silver wings instantly shattered all Liang Bing's iron chains. Huge amounts of silver wings began to shrink and automatically flew behind Kesha. Like a pair of silver wings. The terrifying energy released by Thanos began to dissipate and decompose when it reached a position less than 1 meter in front of Kesha. Kesha couldn't be hurt at all. Life frowned slightly, obviously surprised by the power displayed by Thanos. Infinite gems. It's really interesting. However, if you are interested, you are interested. In Kesha's eyes, her own is the best. Holding an artifact that does not belong to you will only lead to sin. Everyone on the earth looked at the amazing scene in the sky in surprise. You know, not long ago, Thanos relied on the power of the infinite gems in his hands to easily resolve the Sky Blade Judgment jointly launched by Angel Chase and Angel Moi. With that kind of power, even the most terrifying nuclear bomb on Earth is probably not worth 1/10 of its power. And now, the power shown by Thanos is probably more than 10 times stronger than before. If such a force hits the Earth, it may not be as strong as a small planet hitting the Earth. However, facing such a terrifying force, Kesha just sat there. Is this powerful? This is clearly a perversion. Take another move from me. Soul shackles. Endless purple mist appeared from the void and surrounded him. Chains spread from the purple mist, trying to entangle Kesha. However, when the chain reached a place less than 1 meter away from Kesha, it began to collapse on its own again. There is no way to go beyond the thunder pool. Now, is it my turn? The words came from Kesha's mouth, but they seemed to ring directly from the void. Kesha easily resisted Thanos' energy wave. Silver threads suddenly entangled Liang Bing and Thanos at the same time. The two of them were unable to move for a moment. The attack was naturally stopped. Suddenly a ripple began to appear in the sky. A statue of huge amounts of angel appeared in midair. This statue of angel is made entirely of dark silver and holds huge amounts of flaming swords. Behind Kesha, the silver wings automatically flew towards the angel statue, and then became as statue-like. I didn't expect that this time I could kill the evil gods in 2 universes at the same time. It's really a worthwhile trip. Infinite gems dropped from Thanos' hand. But it didn't fall to the ground, and just disappeared in midair. Thanos has been completely restrained and cannot move. Although Liang Bing could barely move, his speed was too slow and it was impossible to dodge Kesha's attack. Well, let me think about it. Who should I kill first? Kesha looked like she had a chance to win. If nothing unexpected happens, neither Liang Bing nor Thanos will be able to survive Kesha's hands. It's you first. There is still a settlement between me and her, Kesha said to Thanos, who was bound to the ground and had no ability to move. Huge amounts of dark Suyin Angel waved the flaming sword in his hand and chopped Thanos away. Thanos had closed his eyes in despair. Kesha is just too powerful. The ability to be so powerful that he has no resistance. Queen Kesha, keep someone under your command. A humble voice sounded from the void. Kesha discovered that she actually lost control of Angel at that moment. Queen Kesha, you can't kill him. A huge projection wearing a cloak appeared in the sky. Carl, why don't you come to Earth if you don't take me with you in the Styx galaxy? The projection that appeared in the void was none other than Death God Carl. Carl still looked like a humble student, but with one move, he directly cut off the connection between Kesha and the angel statue. I'm sorry, Queen Kesha. I have no intention of being your enemy. But an adult has asked me to save his life. Carl pointed at Thanos and said calmly to Kesha. Carl's posture was very low, but Kesha couldn't see any respect in Carl's eyes. Death God Carl, 30,000 years ago, was the most proud disciple of the Space Principal. After the Space Principal disappeared, Carl even obtained the artifact of the Big Clock in 623. You must know that Holy Kesha's treasure trove of knowledge is only copied from the Big Clock. In the past 30,000 years, no one has seen Carl take action, and no one knows how strong Carl is. However, anyone who is familiar with Carl knows that Carl is definitely not simple. How could a god who has his own unique academic understanding and inherited almost all of the Space Principal's legacy be a weakling? You know, Liang Bing's 4th generation divine body was upgraded with the help of Carl. Hey, who is that pretender? Someone from the Avengers immediately asked Thor. He is the god that the Teoti Legion believes in, Death God Carl. Thor explained to everyone. Death God, Then he will be very strong. Forehead. At this moment, Thor's knowledge blind spots were asked. There are probably not many gods in the entire universe who know whether Karl is strong or not. After all, Karl is too stubborn. For 30,000 years, he has not taken action once. Probably not as strong as Queen Keisha. Thor said very conservatively. In Thor's view, Holy Kesha's combat power is already at the top of the Divine King's list. Even if his father Odin comes, he can't be stronger than Kesha. Well, I also think that after all, King of Angels Kesha is already too strong. The other Avengers also agreed. After all, Kesha's fighting power was too terrifying. Even if Morgana, who is also a God King Master, joins forces with Thanos, they are no match for Kesha. What if I have to take action? Kesha's face gradually darkened. I don't know how many years it has been, but no one has dared to threaten her like this to Karl. If Queen Keisha insists on taking action, don't blame Karl for being rude. HMPH. I want to see how you can organize me. Kesha waved her hand, trying to turn off Karl's projection. But she found that she couldn't turn off Karl's projection just like turning off Morgana's projection. There was a ripple in the void. A figure slowly walked out of the void. The person who came was none other than Karl. The power of the big clock is enough to allow Karl to reach the Earth through the wormhole in a short time. The adult said that Thanos cannot die, and Liang Bing, both public and private, and Karl do not want Liang Bing to die. Therefore, no matter how reluctant he was to face Kesha, Karl still came. Karl, do you know the consequences of violating the order of justice? Keisha never thought that Karl, who had been living in poverty for 30,000 years, would jump out and stop her at this time. Oh, even Liang Bing didn't expect that Karl would stand up against Kesha at this time. However, Liang Bing, who knew how many tricks Karl had hidden, was not worried at all about whether Karl would be Kesha's opponent. If the world is competing to see who is more stable, even if Karl is not the protagonist, he is definitely an important supporting role beside the protagonist. Karl never acted without complete preparation. Since Karl dares to face Kesha at this moment, he must not be afraid of Kesha. Definitely, Queen Keisha, I know that offending you will not end well. But I must save these two people. Karl continued to speak to Kesha without being humble or condescending. Really? Then let me see what you are capable of. If Kesha was still playful when she was fighting Liang Bing and Thanos, now Kesha has completely demonstrated her true strength. The giant angel statue in the sky has returned to Keisha's arsenal. Silver Wing also shrunk and returned behind Kesha. Keisha stood up from her throne. Stretching her arm slightly, the sword of King's Fate appeared in Kesha's hand. Keisha didn't know how strong Karl was, but he was definitely not weak. In the treasure house of Holy Kesha's knowledge, Kesha also calculated Karl, but unfortunately they all ended in failure. And after she showed that she was strong enough to crush Liang Bing and Thanos, Karl still dared to stand up and face her. And based on Kesha's understanding of Karl, Karl is definitely not the kind of person who would do something that he is not sure of. And everything like this is enough to show that Karl deserves her careful treatment. Queen Kesha, why is this necessary? Karl seemed to really don't want to fight with Kesha. Stop talking nonsense. Kesha frowned. Just now, she wanted to use her insightful eyes to check Karl, but the result was a failure. This shows that Karl can still easily block his own eye of insight. Brush. It's so fast that no one has reacted yet. Kesha, holding the sword of King's Fate, had already cut Karl in half. But Keisha didn't relax at all. At that moment, she was sure that she had struck Karl with a sword. However, there was no feeling at all, as if a sword struck the air. It's useless, Queen Keisha, you can't hurt me. Karl still looked calm. HMPH. How would you know if you don't try? The sacred realm was activated, a silver blade grew out of Karl's body, and silver threads began to bind Karl. Even if it is as strong as Liang Bing, it will be bound by Kesha's sacred domain. But Karl, as if he was fine, walked straight through the space filled with silver blades. It was as if he didn't exist at all. Illusionary body, Kesha said thoughtfully. Queen Kesha, I told you that you can't hurt me. Karl continued to Kesha. Oh, even so, it doesn't matter. It's still not that easy to defeat me. Keisha scowled. She didn't expect that Karl would be so difficult to deal with. The nearly invincible phantom body is almost difficult to defeat. But, even so what? She is the Holy Kesha, the King of Angels. It also has its own chassis. Queen Kesha's combat power is unparalleled. Even among the God Kings, Queen Kesha's combat power can be said to be invincible. Naturally, Carl will not be her opponent. Carl still said very humbly. However, although I admit that I am no match for Queen Kesha. But if I take action, I am afraid that none of the angels present will survive except you. Other angels. All going to see Lady Death. As Carl's words fell, a face of huge amounts appeared behind Carl. A terrifying aura burst out from that big face. Even Holy Kesha could clearly feel the extremely terrifying aura from the big face behind Carl. She could sense that Carl was not lying. In the void, the face of huge amounts has opened its mouth, as if it can swallow all the angels around Kesha with just one mouthful. At this moment, Kesha was hesitation. If it was herself who was to be sacrificed, I'm afraid she would have agreed long ago. However, it was replaced by his own angel. If he died in an honest battle, Kesha would be proud of these angels. However, if he becomes a victim of the battle between himself and Carl, Kesha couldn't tolerate it. She did not allow angel under her command to die meaninglessly. Although Kesha felt ashamed because of Carl's threat. But in the end, Kesha decided to trade her face for the lives of her angels. Okay, Carl, you're here. In the end, Kesha chose to compromise with Carl. She couldn't sit back and watch these young warriors die in front of her. Wise choice. Carl was obviously very happy to be able to successfully kill Thanos and Liang Bing without fighting Kesha. Otherwise, if Kesha really wants to fight him to death, there may really be no good way for Carl to accommodate the crazy Kesha. But fortunately, everything turned out well. At this moment, a terrifying wolf from the sky and the universe suddenly showed its fangs. The infinite and vast coercion, like the power of heaven, swept across the entire universe. Under the shroud of this power, the heaven and earth are trembling, and the universe is wailing. Almost at the same time, Carl, Liang Shui, Kesha, and Thanos all felt the explosion of this aura. This aura, it's the god of destruction. Vegito, is he in any trouble? Everyone perceived that this power that shocked the entire universe was sent by Vegito, the god of destruction. Even if it's not the first time we've met. But Kesha is still amazed by the power of the god of destruction. Is such a powerful power really something that creatures in the universe can achieve? At this moment, the entire universe was trembling under Vegito's pressure. Drink. Vegito's originally droopy hair began to stand up. The originally yellow hair color gradually changed to blue. The universe began to tremble, and space began to collapse under the terrifying force. Wow, Vegito is so handsome. Infinite on one side, holding his chin with both hands, showing a look of infatuation. Cut. Yongdong still held his chest with both hands. A look of disdain. Annihilation. Vegito's voice spread throughout the universe. Nothing to do with the file size of the sound. It's more like the reaction of the universe rules automatically surrendering under Vegito's power. Annihilation. A voice sounded from the void and spread throughout the universe. Vegito does not know the breath of annihilation, and the 5 gods he has seen only have eternity and infinity. But if Vegito had seen his aura once, then, with Vegito's teleportation, he can be found in any corner of the hand universe. Who is this aura? Who has offended the god of destruction? On Earth, Thor felt this extremely terrifying power. Even though they are only separated by billions of light years in the universe, they can still clearly feel the trembling power of those two people. Even someone as strong as Kesha can clearly perceive that if this force wants to kill her, she may not even have the strength to resist. Annihilation. It seems that the god of destruction, who fought against infinity last time, is now going to fight against annihilation. Countless powerful people in the universe began to watch silently. They want to know whether annihilation will happen. The new god of destruction and the veteran god of creation are annihilated, who is stronger? At the moment, an irresistible will awakened from the vast universe. At that moment, all living beings in the universe perceived it. Annihilation, awakening. That terrifying will, as soon as it woke up, gathered vast and boundless power. As if announcing to the universe that he, the god of creation, was annihilated and angry. As the creator god of multi-universe, annihilation naturally has its own pride. No matter who the opponent is, Annihilation will never back down, because he is the immortal king of creation. If you dare to challenge him, Annihilation will tell him today what the real creation god is. Call. A violent cosmic storm began to spread. The endless power has set off huge waves in this universe. Mortal, how brave you are. How brave. Not far away from Vegito, a face as huge as a star field appeared in the void. He is Annihilation. According to Annihilation, he is one of the most powerful creator gods in the universe. No mortal can compare with him. And Annihilation has just woken up from its slumber. I haven't had time to perceive what happened in the universe. Naturally, he would not know the name of the god of destruction. And Annihilation, which had been sleeping for hundreds of millions of years, was awakened by such a provocation from a mortal. Angry Annihilation roared at Vegito. Even though Vegito has shown absolute power, Annihilation still doesn't take him seriously. Angry Annihilation now just wants to teach this mortal who knows nothing about heaven and earth a lesson. In anger, Annihilation even ignored who was standing next to Vegito. I am the Annihilation of one of the 5 creation gods. Mortals, are you prepared to die? Are you just Annihilation? Vegito observed the invincible god in front of him intently. But looking at the momentum, it is indeed as vast as the universe, but I don't know if it is just for good or bad. Mortal, who gives you the courage to challenge me? Ha, mortal, then let you, a god, see my strength as a mortal. A terrifying momentum burst out from Vegito. Even Annihilation was surprised by this power. If he hadn't really seen Vegito, he would really think so. Vegito is also the creator god. However, mortals are mortals after all. Even if they have the power of gods, how much can they show? Hey, Annihilation. Behind Vegito, Eternity interrupted Annihilation with a disdainful voice. If Vegito is considered a mortal, then where does she put her face as the creator god? Eternity, Infinity, Annihilation finally perceived the two of them. Have you become so ugly? Look at Eternity and Infinity transformed into human form. Annihilation asked unceremoniously. Ugly. Green veins began to appear on Eternal's forehead. If Vegito is not still here, Annihilation must see why she will always be the eldest sister among the gods of creation. Excluding Vegito. I will give you a chance to reorganize your language now. Eternity has already begun gearing up for Annihilation. Did I say something wrong? You look so ugly now. In Annihilation's view, human bodies are not as domineering and cool as they originally were. Say it to me again. Ah, Eternity roared, wanting to rush forward and let Annihilation understand why the flowers were so red. Calm down, sister, calm down. It's not too late for us to wait until Vegito's matter is finished before we teach him a lesson. Beside him, Infinite quickly hugged Eternity. Prevent Eternity from rushing up and fighting Annihilation. After all, they didn't know what Vegito was looking for in Annihilation. And you, Infinite, you look really ugly, Annihilation continued to say in a desperate manner. What did you say? Eternal could even see streams of black aura emerging from Infinite's head. Sister, calm down. Didn't you come here specifically to help Vegito? You can't be a disservice now. This time, it was replaced by Eternity holding back Infinity. Let me go, I want him to know that my aunt is someone you can't afford to offend. Infinity roared, but Eternity grabbed her waist firmly. If someone who is not clear-minded meets them, they will definitely not believe that these two wise sisters are the eternal and infinite gods of creation. Annihilation. Vegito has now initially confirmed that the two wise men behind him cannot be counted on. I really don't know why my IQ is still so low after living for so long. For the sake of you being the person brought by Eternity and Infinity, I will not make things difficult for you. Hearing Vegito call him, Annihilation did not give Vegito any face at all. Said directly. In his opinion, if it were not for the sake of Eternity and Infinity, he would not bother to care about this mortal. It has nothing to do with strength, this is an innate sense of superiority. Oh, it seems that you have to taste the pain before you can tell me everything obediently. The 5 creation gods are immortal, but that doesn't mean they won't get hurt or suffer from pain. You want to challenge me? Annihilation was amused by the ignorant mortal in front of him. I don't know how many years it has been, but no mortal dared to speak to him like this. No, I don't want to challenge you, I want to teach you a lesson. Vegito said expressionlessly. Vegito has absolute confidence. No matter how strong Annihilation is, it can't be stronger than him. Oh, really? If you can really defeat me, I will tell you everything you know. Annihilation said very excitedly. He would never believe that a mortal could have the strength to defeat him. Snort. Vegito took action directly. I hope you can be as arrogant as you are now. Every punch was packed with unparalleled power and blasted towards Annihilation. With Vegito's action, Annihilation also paid the price for its arrogance. His huge body made it impossible for him to dodge Vegito's attack. The fists rippled across the world like water waves. Vegito's fists were not extremely sharp, but they gave people a frightening feeling. Even Annihilation felt the horror of Vegito. Without hesitation or slowness, Annihilation was exhausted with every punch. With the fight, Vegito has completely suppressed Annihilation. Terrible attack speed and attack power. He beat Annihilation into a state of embarrassment. A punch or a kick doesn't require much skill, but it can destroy the doubtful life of Annihilation. Annihilation never imagined that the human being in front of me would be so powerful. It was so powerful that he had to use all his strength. The moment Vegito attacked, the space in front of him split open instantly, and the terrifying energy in the sky was seen frantically gathering towards Vegito. In just a few breaths, all the energy was concentrated on the fist. Straight line bombardment. Annihilation's huge size and defense make it impossible to defend against Vegito's attacks. In particular, it contains terrifying lethality. Almost all martial arts masters in the entire universe know that the tactics used by Vegito at the moment are commonly called by them bullying. Annihilation is not a martial artist, but he knows that as a god, he is being beaten violently in the starry sky by a mortal. Where should he put his dignity as a god? In a short period of time, the file-sized body of the Annihilation starfield was riddled with holes from Vegito. DL. Annihilation Wrath Li Jiao Jiao roared and knocked Vegito away. Immediately afterwards, his body, which was the size of a file in the star field, was shrinking rapidly, until the file size is the same as that of ordinary people. The overly large size was not conducive for Annihilation to avoid Vegito's attack, making Annihilation a living target for a long time. However, it is also because Vegito is too powerful. Otherwise, Annihilation can crush the enemy to death with just one thought. And as a result of the battle just now, Annihilation still fully understood. The human being in front of me is no weaker than myself. Even more powerful. He was secretly shocked by Vegito's power. Such a terrifying power is no weaker than eternity. However, how could Annihilation, the god of creation, give up so easily? Just now, we really underestimated the enemy. Now, Annihilation plans to use all its strength. Chapter 91. Annihilation. As the creator god of the multi-universe, his existence far transcends the multi-universe originally. Annihilation is the smallest among the 5 gods, but its strength is definitely among the top. The 5 creation gods, Eternity, Infinity, Death, Annihilation, and Planet Devourer, together form Marvel's multi-universe, and Annihilation represents nothingness. Annihilation can use any power in the multi-universe at will, and can also create, destroy, manipulate, and change any time and space axis in the multi-universe at will. In other words, Annihilation can infinitely expand the original 3-dimensional space to infinite dimensions, or it can destroy the infinite dimensional space to a size smaller than a quark. Able to control the causal law of the entire multi-universe, change and manipulate it, and because of this ability, it also means that the corresponding causal law of the entire multi-universe or the super-causal law is invalid for Annihilation. In Marvel Comics, there is a super artifact, the Ultimate Eraser, which is the lighter. Even Galactus can be retrieved by the Ultimate Eraser, but this artifact has no effect on Annihilation. Closing parenthesis. Endless power burst out from the Annihilation body. Who is he? Annihilation in the multidimensional world can master all non-existent powers. Mortal, I admit that you do have some ability. Annihilation raised a hint of sneer on her lips. Annihilation showed unparalleled power, and the entire universe was rendered gray. The power that is enough to destroy all matter is swirling around Annihilation. You can be proud to let me use this level of power. Annihilation chuckled. The depths of his eyes shone with a cold luster, and his strange evil eyes made people shudder. But don't worry, after I kill you, I will make you my messenger. Walk the universe with my will. A smile appeared on Annihilation's face, and the smile seemed compassionate and gentle, but the words he spoke were filled with inexorable ferocity. As for eternity and infinity, Annihilation is not afraid of them causing trouble for itself. The 5 creation gods also have their own camps, just like eternity and infinity are in the same camp. Annihilation and death are also in the same camp. And Galactus is a human being. I really hope your strength can be half as sharp as your mouth. Vegito mocked disdainfully. At the same time, Vegito's hair and eyebrows changed from red to sky blue, his pupils turned fluorescent blue, and he was surrounded by blue aura and starry sky-like particles unique to the divine realm, with very slight electric sparks. An extremely terrifying aura spread out from Vegito. Half of the universe was rendered blue, and the annihilated gray exited half of the space. All of a sudden, the entire universe seemed to be divided into 2. Half of it was deathly gray, exuding extremely terrifying power. Half of it is dazzling blue, and it also possesses a certain mysterious majesty. Billions of gray auras burst out from Annihilation. Each black aura seemed to be like a roaring dragon, rushing straight towards Vegito. Annihilation, standing above the overwhelming aura of destruction, is like a Mephisto of destruction at this moment. Go to hell. Along with the Annihilation, a deep voice sounded like it was coming from the void. The countless auras of destruction gathered together and rushed directly towards Vegito. Annihilating self-confidence. Even if you take this move forever, you will be injured, and it may even take millions of years of training to fully recover. Is this all you have power? Vegito held his hands, and a little light blue light lit up in Vegito's palms. Qigong wave. Power enough to destroy Skyrim burst out from Vegito's hands and charged toward Annihilation. Boom! The terrifying force collided, causing the entire universe to tremble. Just a few leftovers caused the universe to begin to faintly collapse. Boom boom boom. The sounds of space explosions echoed around Vegito and Annihilation. The surrounding space had begun to collapse because it could not bear the strength of the 2 people. Far away on Earth, over the city of New York. Such power. Carl couldn't help but sigh. Even though he had turned into a phantom body, Carl didn't have any confidence that he could hold on for a moment in the hands of the god of annihilation and destruction. This level of power can no longer be resisted by clever means like the phantom body. Yes, what a terrifying power. Even Kesha couldn't help but nodded in agreement. In Kesha's heart, only a person like the god of destruction, who can stand shoulder to shoulder with the god of creation in a mortal body, is worthy of being called a true god. Only then can she be worthy of being protected by her divine Kesha throughout her life. Unfortunately, to this day, Kesha has never really met the god of destruction. She has only felt the breath of the god of destruction in the universe. On Earth, the superheroes looked confused. Several great gods who were at war with each other suddenly stopped, and in unison they raised their heads to look at the universe. What happened, and what will be the future fate of the Earth? All superheroes couldn't help but think anxiously. Gwen, on the other hand, was more anxious than the others. On the one hand, she was worried that her sister Liang Bing would be injured. On the other hand, I am worried that sister Liang Bing will harm the Earth. Just when everyone was wondering what happened to Kesha Morganakar and other gods, there was a sudden tremor. The entire Earth, no, the entire solar system is trembling violently. Is this? Are their gods at war again? Thor finally came to his senses. He perceived the extremely terrifying aura in the universe. Boom! An even more terrifying aura erupted on Vegito. A red border appears around the blue gas flame, and finally the gas flame shrinks until it disappears, and the red gas flame spurts out instantly. Vegito transforms again. Super Saiyan Blue Kaio Fist. The red flame of Kaioken is on the outer layer, and the divine flame of Super Saiyan Blue is on the inner layer, forming a double layer of flame. The Qigong wave collided with the positional energy ball and began to push towards Annihilation step by step. Now, Annihilation was anxious. He could feel that the explosion of this energy base was enough to threaten the entire universe. If it really explodes in front of him, even if he lives forever, he will definitely lose 10% of his skin. Roar! Annihilation mobilized all his power. But it was still useless. The mortal in front of him still surpassed him in terms of strength. What should I do? Annihilation was worried. Looking not far away, Sigit looked with disdain in his eyes. Annihilation was thoroughly outraged. Who is he? He is the omniscient and omnipotent Annihilation in the universe. Now he is being mocked mercilessly by a mortal. It's simply unbearable. Since energy attacks are useless, let's use mental attacks. Now, Annihilation still has no other way. Sleeping for millions of years in order not to be seriously injured. Annihilation began to use his own mind to attack Vegito. He wants Vegito to know that he is the real creator god of this universe. The majesty of the creator god is inviolable. Doll. Annihilation released its power crazily, and its murderous aura kept eroding Vegito. Waves of mental explosions exploded in Vegito's mind. Now it is not Professor. Bursts of black light and mental storms were constantly blasting towards Vegito. However, Vegito held on to his spiritual space and began to use the attacks of Annihilation to hone his mental strength. Years of fighting career have long made Vegito's determination extremely firm, even with boundless murderous intent. Ordinary mental attacks will not affect Vegito at all. There are probably few people in the entire universe who can display a stronger spiritual ability than Annihilation. Something like mental power is very aggressive, but at the same time, it's also very fragile. When practicing something, it is easy to lose control of your emotions and go crazy. This is why people with strong minds can better control their emotions. Once you completely indulge your spiritual world, you will only go crazy in the end. As the mental attack takes effect, Annihilation also begins to increase its energy output. He knew that he could no longer be Vegito's opponent against Bo. Therefore, at the moment when Vegito relaxed, Annihilation collected all its energy and released it. After dodging Vegito's energy wave, Annihilation rushed directly towards Vegito. Boom, boom, boom. Every punch and kick of the two men carried unparalleled power. The two of them did not use other powers, just pure physical power. Then there were bursts of sounds of space breaking around. In just a few moments, the two sides had fought for tens of thousands of rounds, and the power of each round was enough to destroy a galaxy. This shows how fierce the battle was. What's even more frightening is that every attack of Annihilation is accompanied by a double murderous intention in the mental aspect. If you are not careful, you will lose your spirit and lose everything. Boom. There was another terrifying impact, and the entire universe began to shake. Vegito. Far away on the earth, Liang Bing couldn't help but clenched his fists. Although she knew how powerful Vegito was, after all, Vegito had only grown up for more than 20 years until now. On the other side, there is the annihilation of one of the creator gods that has existed since the birth of the universe. And according to Liang Bing's perception, Vegito seems to be on the passive defensive side. Kesha, who was beside Liang Bing, was the first to notice Liang Shui's nervousness. Kesha frowned, not knowing why Liang Bing was nervous. She seems very focused on the battle between the god of destruction and annihilation. Under normal circumstances, although Kesha would also pay attention to this kind of battle between the levels of creation gods, she would not be nervous at all. Unless it involves someone very important to you. Kesha frowned. She and Liang Bing have been sisters for tens of thousands of years. But I have never heard of Liang Bing and Annihilation knowing each other. And the god of destruction, who has become famous recently, and at the moment, the god of destruction seems to be at a disadvantage. But Liang Bing just recently found a male god on the earth who wants to protect him for the rest of his life. Kesha thinks it's very possible. Moreover, Kesha couldn't read any of that male god's data. Kesha's eyeballs turned white again, and she began to collect the Earth's data immediately. What has Liang Bing done on Earth recently? Really? Sure enough, based on what Liang Bing did on Earth, Kesha easily deduced everything. But the multi-year-old god of space destruction? How terrifying. What a dirty country. Obviously, Kesha can see much more than Liang Bing. She even scoured the entire Earth for data, and then deduced Vegito's experiences on Earth based on Holy Kesha's treasure trove of knowledge. It seems that some things have been artificially blocked. Kesha's insightful eye is completely different from Liang Bing's. Just by looking up the data on the Earth, he discovered the problem that Liang Bing discovered in the Kree Empire's supreme wisdom. Puff. Kesha, who was sitting on the throne, suddenly spit out a mouthful of blood. Queen. The surrounding angels gathered around and supported Kesha with great concern. Then he looked at Carl with a wary expression. In their opinion, among all the people present, only Carl could use such despicable means. Carl said he was confused and he really didn't do anything. But why did Holy Kesha suddenly vomit blood? With the level of strength of Holy Kesha, almost no one can plot against her. Thanos, on the other hand, looked at Kesha, who was vomiting blood, with a cold look in his eyes. Kesha is seriously injured, if there is really a chance. He didn't mind taking the opportunity to make up for it and send Kesha to death completely. And Liang Bing seemed to be wondering why Kesha suddenly became like this. Then, she thought that Kesha's eye of cave construction was much higher level than hers. Combined with his current injuries, it seems that he understands why Kesha is like this. This bitcha. Liang Bing feels that with Kesha's character, things will never go smoothly next for her. No problem. Kesha's face looked a little pale, and she waved her hand to signal the angels around her to retreat. At that moment, after Kesha saw something, a pair of extremely terrifying eyes appeared. But they looked at each other. Kesha was seriously injured and on the verge of death. However, she got a hint of news about Vegito. Now she, let alone Liang Bing, even if she comes to Chidori at random, Kesha may not be a match. Then she continued to sit on her throne, as if nothing had happened. That matter was completely beyond Kesha's control. At the moment, the most important thing is not to let these gods see her state, otherwise, let alone herself, even the angels she brought will be in danger. As if she had returned to normal, Kesha, who was sitting on the throne, could not help but turn pale. If you are worried about him, there is no need to be so nervous. Kesha suddenly spoke to Liang Bing, who clenched her fists. Liang Bing looked at Kesha doubtfully. At the moment, Kesha had closed her eyes tightly, seeming to be concentrating. Have you not noticed that until now, he has not taken a step back? Immediately afterwards, Liang Bing also reacted immediately. Yes, although Vegito, who is fighting Annihilation, has been passively defending under Annihilation's double attack, until now, Vegito has not even taken a step back. Obviously, Vegito still has some strength left. However, Liang Shui then frowned and looked at Kesha. As expected, this bitcha was discovered by her. At the moment, Kesha had closed her eyes and concentrated. Now, she was not wary of anyone, nor could she be wary. Kesha said that she had never seen the terrifying aura just now, but it was extremely powerful. The feeling given to Kesha was no weaker than that of the god of destruction and annihilation who were fighting. Fortunately, although Kesha was seriously injured, Angel's communication was not damaged. It's time for all the forces in the universe to become Angel. Kesha is more than just a peak god king. Now, as long as she waits patiently and waits until she arrives, everything will be over. After calming down, Kesha once again looked towards the battlefield in the universe. At the same time, I was secretly surprised by Vegito, who had become a creation god in less than 100 years. At this moment, Vegito's condition is not as good as everyone seems. Indeed, the strength displayed by Annihilation was not enough to threaten him. However, when 400 was training his heart, Vegito had a problem. In his calm mind, he was extremely violent. Crazy negative emotions are constantly impacting Vegito's thinking. Vegito is also a human being, and as long as he is a human being, he cannot only bear in his heart but not vent. With Vegito's power, he can unleash his power unbridled. That would be a disaster for the entire universe. Moreover, with Vegito's will, he can easily and perfectly control the murderous intention in his heart. But now, under the provocation of Annihilation, Vegito's spirit begins to show holes. However, Vegito's bloodthirsty state has been suppressed too deeply by himself and will not be released easily. Once the murderous intention in Vegito's heart is completely released, it will be a ruthless machine of destruction. Coupled with Vegito's original Saiyan violent gene, it has begun to shake Vegito's mind. And the current Annihilation is no different than a key, constantly opening the cage that holds the devil. Annihilation's attacks are becoming more and more fierce, and his moves are becoming more and more sharp. At the same time, the mental attack did not stop for a moment. To be fair, there are probably not many people in this universe who can withstand Annihilation's random mental attack. And now, Vegito is suffering the mental impact of Annihilation blow after blow, like an endless wave of waves. Annihilation carries the spirit of destruction, and every blow directly impacts the depths of Vegito's heart. Under the crazy attack of Annihilation, Vegito's attacks gradually began to appear a little weak. The double mental and physical suppression made it impossible for Vegito to launch his attack, and he could only passively defend against the Annihilation attack. Annihilation smiled. Mortals will be mortals after all. No matter how powerful it is. It is impossible to compare with an omniscient and omnipotent creator god like him. Annihilation began to press forward step by step, but Vegito could only passively defend. Anyone can see that Vegito has begun to be suppressed by Annihilation. Sure enough, mortals are mortals after all. Can they still not be compared with the 5 creation gods that have existed since the creation of the universe? At this time, Liang Bing, who was far away on Earth, became anxious. If Vegito was able to defend passively just now, he was absolutely suppressed by Annihilation now. She felt that Vegito was too impulsive. With Vegito's potential, even if it is not as good as Annihilation now, after 100 or 10,000 years, Annihilation can definitely be pressed to the ground and rubbed. But obviously, Annihilation still won't give Vegito time to grow. As expected, is it still a bit reluctant? Keisha didn't mean to be dismissive in the slightest. Even if Vegito fails, he is still the only person in the universe in tens of billions of years who has reached the level of a creation god in a mortal body. He is also the only person in the universe who has challenged eternity and Annihilation one after another. Even if Vegito dies, his legend will remain in the universe forever. However, Kesha also felt sorry for Vegito. If Vegito had practiced for a while longer, the outcome of this battle would have been completely different. Boom! Just when everyone thought Vegito was going to lose, a bloody energy burst out from Vegito's body. The bloody storm rolled up and occupied half of the universe at an extremely fast speed. Kesha replaced the blue one just now and fought against the Annihilation chamber. At the same time, Annihilation discovered that his own spiritual storm could no longer break into Vegito's spiritual world. Killing intent. It was like a real killing intent, dyeing the entire universe red. A cold smile appeared on the corner of Vegito's mouth. The entire universe felt it, and Vegito felt a piercing murderous intention. Let alone Kesha and others, even Annihilation has never seen such terrifying spiritual power. The most terrifying thing was, he could even smell blood, death, despair and biting cold. How could it be? Why did it suddenly get cold? On the earth, countless people began to feel a bone-chilling cold rising from deep in their hearts. It's obviously summer, and the sun is still high in the sky, but people can't help but feel the cold. Not only mortals, but even the gods in the sky began to feel frightened by Vegito's murderous intent. One after another, they began to put away their perceptions and moved their perceptions further away to watch the battle. If such killing intent is experienced even from a distance, the state of mind will be lost. If it lasts for a long time, the killing intent will be completely assimilated and turned into a madman who only knows destruction. Kesha, who was already severely injured, was infected by this bone-chilling murderous intention and spit out a mouthful of blood again. Seeing Kesha vomiting blood twice in a row, the murderous intention in Thanos' heart couldn't help but become stronger. If you miss this opportunity, I'm afraid Kesha won't be so weak next time. He still decided in his heart that none of the angels present would be left behind. Almost everyone is curious about how such a murderous aura that destroys the world is created. How many people has the god of destruction killed to have such violent killing intent? Roar! Vegito's mental power was vented unscrupulously. Even though it was annihilation, there was shock in his eyes. That incomprehensible shock. How could a mortal have such terrifying murderous intent? He seemed to have unleashed a demon. A real demon that could easily destroy the universe. In the universe, the blood and gray that should have been fighting each other have completely changed the situation. Blood filled the entire space, and like a storm, it constantly impacted, tearing apart the realm of annihilation. Now Vegito has completely transformed into a cold, ruthless destroyer. Boom! Vegito charged towards annihilation first. The bloody energy collided with the gray power of destruction, and the light exploded. Annihilation was blown away directly. Before annihilation landed, Vegito had already appeared behind annihilation again. Boom! Kicked out. Annihilation flew out again. Annihilation uses its own ability to break away from Vegito's rhythm in the battle. However, Vegito had already appeared where he appeared. Vegito appeared directly above annihilation. Boom! Several more planets were annihilated and turned into ruins. There was a hint of teasing smile on Vegito's lips, as if mocking the weakness of annihilation. On the one hand, Annihilation desperately resisted Vegito's terrifying attack, looking for opportunities to counterattack. On the one hand, he resisted the all-pervasive murderous aura. However, every heavy hit by Vegito can knock out all the power of Annihilation's counterattack. Shocking. Unparalleled shock. Annihilation, one of the majestic creation gods and one of the 5 great gods, was actually completely suppressed at this moment. It's almost like sandbagging. Such a scene is simply more shocking than the last time the god of destruction battled eternity. This guy, he's actually become stronger again. On the side, Eternal, who was watching the battle, gritted his teeth and said, Vegito has become stronger again. Doesn't this prove that she has no hope of revenge? Eternal does not think that the speed of his progress can match that of Vegito, a pervert. In just one breath, the two of them had already fought for over 150,000 rounds. The entire universe was trembling violently, the sky and the earth were pale, the sun and the moon had no light, and all living things were frightened. Vegito becomes more courageous as he fights. On the contrary, there were already cracks on Annihilation's body. Boom! Another heavy punch hit Annihilation's body. And Annihilation, which had already appeared cracks, was directly shattered. Oh my god, that is one of the creator gods of the universe. Now, the origin of the body has been shattered. Vegito's move was as unbelievable as destroying a universe with one punch. I want you to die. A low roar sounded from the void. Even though the god of creation is immortal, Annihilation, whose body was shattered by Vegito, was definitely severely injured. If it hadn't been for hundreds of millions of years, his injuries would have been impossible to recover from. However, in the hands of a mortal, his body was broken into pieces. Even if it is annihilated, it is difficult to let go of the obsession in my heart. Consume the source and reshape the body. Billions of black mist suddenly appeared in the void and began to condense again. Terrifying energy emanated from the black mist. This time of annihilation can be said to have cost a lot of money. In less than a stick of incense, the annihilated bodies gathered together again. Today's body is stronger and more terrifying than before. The current annihilation has completely mobilized the antimatter power of the entire universe. It's like Vegito, fighting against the entire universe. If it fails again this time, annihilation will even be so weak that it will no longer be able to condense its true form, or even create its own messenger. The newly condensed annihilation just stood there, and there were faint signs of collapse in the universe. Endless aura of destruction began to gather around annihilation. It is constantly entangled towards annihilation. God King level experts in the entire universe can feel the terror of that aura. I am afraid that a random breath of destruction can lead to the death of a peak expert at the level of a God King. I want you to die. That voice was full of destruction and violence. Even eternity and infinity feel a strong sense of danger. Is annihilation crazy? Is he doing things completely recklessly? Infinite said in surprise. The way annihilation looks now is like dying together. No matter whether he wins or loses this battle, annihilation will sleep for a few more epochs or even wake up. After successfully condensing their bodies, Annihilation and Vegito fought together again. A completely head-on battle. Every fight is a disaster for the universe. Space is shaking and the universe begins to collapse. Boom, boom, boom. In a short period of time, the two have fought tens of thousands of rounds. And with every collision, the entire universe trembles. After tens of thousands of confrontations, Annihilation discovered a terrifying fact. During the battle with him, Vegito not only did not feel the slightest fatigue. On the contrary, it is constantly getting stronger. Constantly transcending yourself. Instead, he annihilated himself. Although he had energy close to that of the entire universe, every time he fought Vegito, he was accompanied by a terrifying energy impact. At the same time, the energy consumed is also very terrifying. The energy of annihilation was consumed at a visible speed, but Vegito did not show any signs of fatigue. Is this kind of perversion really born in the universe? Annihilation has already given birth to the intention of retreat. If this situation continues, he will not be able to win Vegito. However, his dignity as a god did not allow him to retreat. When Annihilation was in a dilemma, Vegito voluntarily withdrew from the battle. The red aura returned to blue again. The blood-colored pupils also changed back to their original fluorescent blue. After venting his anger, Vegito has returned to his original state again. The only difference is that Vegito's mental power is stronger. At the same time, he also gained another level of mastery of his mental power. Annihilation subconsciously rejoiced. He thought that Vegito's energy had been almost exhausted and he could no longer be in the same state again. That's right, after all, mortals are mortals after all, so how can they compare with their own endless power? Annihilation showed a smile as if he had won. It seemed as if victory was already certain. I admit that you are indeed very strong. But after all, you are immortal, and it is impossible for you to mobilize the energy of the entire dark plane of the universe at will like me. Annihilation's lips curled up into a sinister smile. Said arrogantly. He believed that Vegito, who had exited that state, could no longer be his opponent. As long as you can defeat Vegito and regain your dignity that belongs to God, then everything will be worth it. Vegito snorted disdainfully. He exited the bloodthirsty state just now simply because he had vented all the rage in his heart. Being in that state for a long time will affect your state of mind. It's even easy to get stuck in it and not be able to find your true self. And Vegito in a calm state is the strongest Vegito. Boom. The two fought together again. The current Vegito is not as sharp and fierce as before. But what replaced it was a more calm fighting style. More skillful fighting techniques. After several teachings, Annihilation discovered. Although the current Vegito is not as fierce as before, he is even more difficult to deal with. But things have come to this. Annihilation has no option to retreat. He will not retreat, nor can he retreat. Terrifying sounds came from the void. Waves of destructive power merged into Annihilation's body again. This time of Annihilation, all the trump cards have been revealed. Roar. Annihilation vents his extremely terrifying power to the entire universe. Every punch can cut through the galaxy. Every kick can shatter the stars. Every move has boundless power. Being beaten up like this by a mortal, Annihilation has gone crazy. Now, he just wants to defeat Vegito. At this moment, the breath of Annihilation has completely locked Vegito. Suddenly, Annihilation stomped his feet slightly, and a large space crack appeared under Annihilation's feet. The next moment, Annihilation appeared in front of Vegito. It's not teleportation, but it's faster than teleportation. Vegito has been completely locked into the aura of Annihilation. There is no way to dodge or dodge. Boom. Annihilation draw Vegito blasted out. At the same time, countless storms and cosmic dust were rolled up. Even halfway across the universe, people can still feel the shock of that power. Before the dust cleared, Annihilation rushed in again. Everyone couldn't help but sweat for Vegito. In such a state of annihilation, can Vegito really win? Huge amounts of ripples continue to spread, and their invincible power directly crushes the space. The storm cleared and everything became clear. Two voices and shadows faced each other in the void. Everyone is shocked by the terrible destructive power between Vegito and Annihilation. That kind of invincible power is no longer something I can contend with human power. The starry sky is also constantly shattering, and all the surrounding space has begun to collapse. The terrible destructive power destroys everything that can be destroyed. Boom. Another extremely terrifying punch. The powerful fist wind tore apart space and destroyed several galaxies behind Veggie. However, Annihilation obviously didn't expect it. The punch he gathered strength unexpectedly missed Vegito. How is that possible? My breath must be completely locked on him. Annihilation said in surprise. He couldn't figure it out. How could a punch that completely locked the breath be empty? How could it be empty? At this moment, Vegito's hair and pupils turned silver gray. At the same time, strength and speed have also been further improved. At this moment, Vegito is even more powerful than he has ever been. The breath is completely restrained, even the Annihilation in front of him cannot feel the slightest breath of Vegito. If you don't observe it with the naked eye, you won't even feel the presence of Vegito. The attack was clearly locked, but Vegito dodged it with the smallest possible margin. At this moment, Vegito has officially entered the state of free and extreme mental power. When they clashed again, the result was completely different from just now. Annihilation's punches and kicks were all dodged by Vegito with the smallest possible margin. But Vegito can always find the flaw in Annihilation, and then launch a thunderous strike. After a few rounds, Annihilation became miserable. Fighting Vegito at this moment is even more uncomfortable than fighting Vegito who was just in a bloodthirsty state. In Annihilation's eyes, the current Vegito is as slippery as a loach, completely invisible and intangible. But he was completely unable to guard against Vegeta's moves. The balance of the battle tilted again. Annihilation seemed like a moving sandbag that could only be supported in Vegito's hands, without any room for resistance. If we really evaluate this battle through the eyes of bystanders, that's Vegito's unilateral beat and annihilate, but Annihilation had absolutely no room to fight back. Yes, you read that right, a violent beating. A creation god was being beaten violently. I'm afraid not many people in the universe would believe it, but this moment really happened in front of everyone's eyes. In a short period of time, Annihilation had already endured countless fists from Vegeta. But he never even touched Vegito. Every time, Vegito can always avoid Shumi's fatal attack with the slightest movement and the smallest amplitude. Annihilation almost cried. He had never had such an uncomfortable fight. I think he has never been beaten so violently like this after being the creator god for hundreds of millions of years. Boom! Annihilation's body was exploded again. Gulu, not to mention anyone else, even Eternal Life was stunned by this scene. Annihilation tried his best in the end, but in the end, Vegito was not hurt even a hair. How scary is Vegito? Fortunately, she still wanted to take revenge on Vegito, and after defeating Vegito, she made him kneel at her feet. Now it seems that it can only be a sweet dream. Such talent, such terrifying strength. Kesha has decided to save Vegito from Morgana's sea of suffering, no matter what. If one doesn't work, then try another one. If it doesn't work, there are still her and she. There are so many angels, I don't believe they can't compete for one. Annihilation. At this moment, Vegito has not exited the state of ultimate freedom. The body shone with a silvery gray light. I lost. A wisp of black aura gradually formed in the universe. The current Annihilation is no longer as radiant as the one just now. Instead, he looked decadent. Annihilation. Vegito stretched out his palm and took the black aura, the only trace of Annihilation's origin, in his hand. It's time to fulfill your promise. Tell me everything you know and I will spare your life. At the moment, Vegito has not exited the state of the ultimate self-consciousness. The whole body exudes extremely terrifying coercion. Just ask. As long as I know, I will definitely tell you. Although defeated at the hands of Vegito, Annihilation still has the pride of being one of the 5 creation gods. It's not as if he would do something to break the contract. He finally realized it. Now Vegito not only has the ability to destroy his own body. The power in Vegito's body is still far greater than the sum total of his antimatter universe. How terrifying that is. You must know that the cosmic energy of matter and antimatter is conserved. Doesn't that mean that Vegito's power exceeds the sum of the universe? Annihilation feels that unless the 5 creation gods join forces, otherwise it would be impossible to be Vegito's opponent. God of Destruction, ask. I swear by my annihilated godhead, I will never tell any lies. Now, Annihilation still admits from the bottom of his heart that Vegito is the god of destruction, if he is such a powerful person. If none of them are worthy of being called the Word of God, then who is worthy of this title? Will he be annihilated? Why do you want to shield the earth from the dark plane information about me in the Kree Supreme Wisdom? Vegito looked heavy. Logically speaking, more than 10 years ago, he was just an ordinary mutant on Earth. Not to mention annihilated. Even the most common gods in the universe do not need to reach the level of God King. It's impossible to take him seriously. And why does it attract Annihilation's attention? What? Annihilation was stunned for a moment. He had no idea what Vegito was talking about. I don't understand what you are talking about. Annihilation shook her head, said negatively, for nearly 1,000,000 years, I have been sleeping in my own pocket space. Even with a few duplications, I have never been to the Earth, and it is impossible to modify or block any of your information. Annihilation said matter-of-factly. The Earth is really too small compared to the universe. So insignificant, if Vegito hadn't asked. Annihilation may not even know that such a planet exists. After all, the lifespan of the Creator God is eternal and infinite, while a planet will have less than 10 billion years of life until it dies. A creation god will never deliberately remember the name of a planet unless there are special circumstances. Just like humans don't remember every ant's name. You've never been to Earth. Vegito frowned. Coming out of Annihilation, he really couldn't think of anyone else in the entire universe who could seriously injure Morgana, a God-King level powerhouse, with just one look. At the same time, you can also modify the information that blocks the dark plane. I don't need to lie to you. Even if you are more powerful than me, as one of the creation gods, I don't bother to lie. I do things myself. I will take responsibility for them. There is no need to resort to such dirty tricks as lying. Seeing Vegito's questioning look, Annihilation became a little unhappy. If you can't beat him, you must let him understand at this time. What is the wrath of the Creator God? What he said should be true. Eternal said in agreement. The creation gods also have their own pride. They will not lie to others, and there is no need to lie to others. And based on the recent understanding of eternity, Annihilation has indeed not been active in the universe for a long time. Can you help me check who modified the information? Vegito continued to ask unwillingly. Almost all the people on the Earth have been killed by him and Liang Bing. But all the clues have been broken. I'm sorry, I'm too weak right now. Annihilation shook his head. Now he must fall into a deep sleep immediately. It may even take millions of years to wake up. If you don't mind, you can wait for me to check it out for you when I wake up millions of years later. From the perspective of the creation god Annihilation, millions of years are just a time to sleep. At this time, Annihilation had obviously completely regarded Vegito as someone on the same level as him. Everyone, farewell, I'm going back to my pocket space to sleep. Vegito paid no attention to the departing Annihilation. Annihilation is the embodiment of dark matter in the entire universe. Even if you really want to kill Annihilation, even Vegito will have to pay a certain price. Besides, since he agreed to let Annihilation leave, he would not go back on his word. Gradually, Vegito's hair returned to its original black color. The breath has also returned to normal. Vegito couldn't help but fell into deep thought. Apart from Annihilation, who else in the universe had such a method? All the clues seemed to have been lost here, above the Earth. With the end of the battle between the god of destruction and Annihilation, everything seemed to be calm again. However, everyone can feel it again. With Kesha's injury, everything becomes mysterious again. Thanos, especially, has become eager to try. As long as Carl is willing to help, the three of them can definitely take down the injured Kesha. Even if a God King level master is injured, he will rarely vomit blood directly. Because doing that is tantamount to telling others that you are seriously injured. As for Kesha, vomiting blood twice in a short period of time was tantamount to telling others that she was seriously injured now. The injury was so serious that it was completely beyond Kesha's control. Liang Bing, I have something to ask you. A wormhole opened under the feet of Liang Bing and Carl. Before Liang Bing could agree, they left the Earth together with Carl's wormhole. Although Carl didn't have the Eye of Insight, it couldn't be easier to invade the conversation between Liang Bing and Kesha. From Kesha's conversation, Liang Bing seemed to have definitely found someone on Earth worthy of protecting him for the rest of his life. He couldn't believe that he had been pursuing for 30,000 years to help Liang Bing fight against Kesha and help Liang Bing upgrade the 4th generation divine body. But he still didn't get Liang Bing's sincerity or even a hint of favor. But now, Liang Bing says that he wants to be someone else's guardian angel. Carl's mentality collapsed. In fact, he was so impatient that he didn't even care about Kesha. Now Carl just wants to ask Liang Bing whether everything Kesha said is true. On the other side, with the departure of Carl and Liang Bing, Kesha and Thanos once again reached a deadlock. Thanos wanted to kill Kesha, but Kesha was too strong. It was so strong that even if it was certain that Kesha was seriously injured, he would not dare to take action rashly. Even if it was confirmed that Kesha was really injured, Thanos was not sure that he could defeat Kesha alone. So, Thanos decided to test Kesha. Thanos did not attack Angel directly. Compared with Angel, he used those Earthlings who had no power to resist to test whether Kesha still had the ability to maintain his righteous order. Perfect for Thanos. ... Black Order. Obey orders. Thanos waved the weapon in his hand, faced Kesha, pointed at the earth and said, "Kill all the people on Earth." Thanos had no good feelings about this place that had repeatedly caused him humiliation, so he decided to destroy the planet. Definitely, the premise of all this is that Kesha no longer has her own strength. If Kesha still has strength now, even if she can exert half of her strength, Thanos will exit the Earth without any hesitation. Yes, Black Order rushed to Earth with Thanos' orders. Thanos, on the other hand, stood in front of Kesha and looked at Kesha warily. Once Kesha makes the slightest move, he will escape from the Earth as quickly as possible. Thanos, for the sake of Wong de Carl just now, I let you go. Kesha waved her hand to stop the surrounding angels who wanted to take action. Sitting on the throne, closing his eyes tightly, he said to Thanos expressionlessly, "As long as she has the slightest strength, Kesha will choose to stop Thanos." However, Kesha now doesn't even have the energy to scare Thanos. At the same time, Kesha also understood that in front of a God King Master of Rage, the number of people had completely lost its meaning. Even with half her strength she could easily defeat Thanos. But in front of the God King level, these God-level angels can only deliver food. The only way now is to drag it until Hexy comes. With Hexy's strength, he can definitely deal with Thanos easily. Among the angels she brought, the strongest one was Yan. Compared to Lang and Jixin, Yan was still a bit inferior. And Yan has just been injured by Thanos, and the remaining angel, even if they join forces, cannot be the opponent of Thanos now. Ha ha ha, Kesha, what if I don't retreat? Seeing Kesha, who had always been arrogant, now sitting motionless on her throne, Thanos couldn't help but confirm his inner guess. On Earth, those superheroes have begun to confront the Black Order. Thor versus Corvus Glaive. In fact, Thor is indeed better than Corvus Glaive. However, Corvus Glaive has its own regenerative healing factor. In the battle with Thor, one's own injuries can be recovered quickly and continuously. But Thor doesn't have this ability. This also leads to, except for the fact that he was suppressing Corvus Glaive at the beginning, he was suppressed by Corvus Glaive throughout the rest of the fight. You can only defend passively. After all, Corvus Glaive is not afraid of getting hurt, but he is. Thor smashed Corvus Glaive's head with a hammer, but within 2 seconds, General Glaive was able to stand up again. But if Thor was hit on the head with a hammer, I'm afraid he would have to go see his late great-grandfather today. As a result, Thor has always been in a passive defensive position. After all, it would be very difficult for anyone to fight against such an opponent who cannot be killed or injured. Iron Man flew into the sky and faced Ebony Maw, who was using magic flying. In Avengers 3, Iron Man drives his Mark V and joins forces with Doctor Strange, and is not yet a match for Ebony Maw. What's more, today's Iron Man is nothing more than Mark V. It is completely impossible to be Ebony Maw's opponent. The Hulk then faced off against Black Dwarf. A duel between two heavily armed tanks. It was a most exciting duel with fists and fists going to the flesh. Gwen, Captain of the United States, teamed up with Black Widow to take on Proxima Midnight. Proxima Midnight is good at melee combat and is the master of combat in the universe, holding the magic gun forged by Thanos himself. For a moment, the three of them were overwhelmed. Among the three, it was Spider-Woman Gwen who took most of the pressure. Here the author explains, according to data from Marvel's official website, Spider-Man has a strength 50 times beyond the limit of the human body, while the Captain of the United States has a strength that is simply the limit of the human body. Furthermore, in the Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man has stopped trains, collapsed buildings, and supported a broken cruise ship with his own strength. These achievements are something that the Captain of the United States does not have. Compared to the Captain of the United States, who has experienced many battles, Spider-Man also has his own spider telepathy. Therefore, I feel that if we really get started, Spider-Man will be much more powerful in every aspect. Definitely, the 50-50 buff from Captain the United States in the movie does not count. Closing parenthesis. With spider telepathy, Gwen was able to compete with Proxima Midnight with the help of the United States Captain and Natasha Romanoff. The most massive battle was between Chin and Supergiant. People in the entire city can perceive the mental storm between the two men. With that kind of terrifying mental power, even ordinary people can see the spiritual fit that seems to be substantial. Under the command of Thanos, countless dark cults once again appeared in the sky above the earth. Surround Angel. Attack. Leave no one behind. Thanos instructs the members of the Dark Order to attack Angel. This is Thanos' real core legion, which is completely different from the cannon fodder like Chitauri. Without Keisha, facing the endless dark cult, the Angels could only fall into passive resistance for a while. Thanos, however, was not in a hurry to take action. Instead, it came to the ground. Earthlings, feel the pain. Seemingly feeling that his Black Order was moving too slowly, Thanos landed directly on the ground. Thanos did not immediately take action against Kesha, because even if Kesha was seriously injured, Thanos was still not sure, and Ping had no backup plan. He didn't dare to push Kesha directly in one step, because that would mean that Kesha would fight him desperately when she had all her cards. It's better to use those dark cults to test Kesha's trump card first. By the way, let's first let these people on Earth see how it feels when the angel they believe in, BFFG, is watching them being slaughtered in the sky. Thanos, leave now, otherwise you will be punished by justice. Kesha was still sitting on the throne and said neither humble nor overbearing. But with that determined tone, even Thanos had a hint of doubt. Is it possible that she really has some tricks that she hasn't used yet? Oh, really? Then let me see how you punish me. If he retreats now, wouldn't it be clear that he is afraid of Kesha? After once again distanced himself from Kishara, Mie showed his fangs to the earth. With just one punch, the surrounding battlefields for several kilometers were reduced to rubble, and countless civilians died. Black Order consciously retreated behind Thanos. They know that Thanos has been suppressed for too long, and now Thanos is eager to release himself. Roar! The irrational Hulk rushed towards Thanos first. Banner is back. That's the overlord of the universe. Thor hurriedly shouted to the Hulk. Bang, bang, bang. Thanos didn't use too much force. With the same body type, the fighting skills of Destroyer completely overwhelmed the Hulk, who could only run rampant. Down to the fifth turn, Thanos reaches the ground. Thanos stepped forward and stepped directly on Hulk's back. The entire city of New York once again fell under the flames of war. Go, we must protect New York City. The captain of the United States rushed forward without hesitation. He knew that the other party was very powerful, but his responsibility told him that he could not retreat. But who is the overlord of the universe? Thor continued to shout. He knows better than anyone else the gap between them and Thanos. No matter how big the gap is, we have to go forward, because we have no way out. Because we are the Avengers. Iron Man whizzed past Thor. All the superheroes rushed forward one after another. Okay, I'm probably crazy. Bolts of thunder erupted from Thor's hammer. Facing the attack of the superheroes, Thanos did not retreat even a step. In his opinion, no matter how many ants there are, they are still ants. Roar, boom, boom, boom. The vibranium shield of the captain of the United States blocked Thanos' double-edged sword. The collision between metals caused a sound like a bell. Countless cannons were fired at Thanos from Iron Man's suit. Hey, look here. A spider web shot into Thanos' eyes under the cover of Iron Man. Thor, who was behind the captain of the United States, jumped up and blasted towards Thanos with infinite thunder power. The cooperation of everyone is not perfect, but what they are facing is Thanos, the overlord of the universe and a god-king level powerhouse. Roar! With Thanos' roar, the vibranium shield of the United States captain was shattered. That's vibranium. It's one of the strongest metals on Earth. Thanos' other fist blocked Thor's hammer. Boom. It was supposed to be a collision between metal and flesh, but instead it made a dull sound like a bell. The powerful force of the shock shook Thor's hands that were holding the hammer numb. Gwen shoots a cobweb, then moves around flexibly, and then uses the cobweb to trap Mielu. However, the cobweb she developed herself is too fragile in the eyes of Thanos. It can be broken easily with just a little force. The Hulk fell. The United States captain fell. Thor fell. Iron Man also fell in front of everyone. Suddenly, everyone was seriously injured. But Thanos is still standing there intact. The gap between them is too big. It was so big that no one saw any hope of victory. A moment later, Lian Qin was subdued by Ebony Maw and Supergiant. Only Gwen was left, still relying on her spider telepathy to support herself. Boom. After all, the gap is still too big. Even with spider telepathy, Gwen is still far from Thanos in terms of strength and speed. Sometimes, even if it is known and threatened, the body's reaction speed cannot keep up with the consciousness. Boom! Thanos seized the opportunity and grabbed Gwen's neck. Little bug, I got you. For Thanos, among these superheroes, Gwen may not be the strongest, but indeed the most annoying. Let me see what else you, annoying insect, can do. Thanos' palm exerted slight force, and Gwen began to struggle painfully. Thanos' strength is simply too great. Not to mention Gwen, even the Hulk is far inferior in comparison. Boom! There was a gunshot, hit Thanos right in the eye. Although Thanos was not injured, he was angry. These mortals deserved to die for obstructing him again and again. Purple sweet potato monster, let go of Spider-Woman. Sheriff George's voice came from a distance. He was alone, but he was moving forward step by step. Father, Gwen was slightly moved in her heart. You must know that before that, Sheriff George had never called Spider-Woman by her name. He had always called Spider-Woman, the Spider-Man, the monster outlaw. Chivalrous. Aunt, who gave you the courage? Thanos is angry. Those angels and superheroes are just that. A mortal, why dare? In normal times, maybe Thanos wouldn't bother paying attention to a mortal. But today, he has encountered too many unpleasant things on Earth. Monster, get out of New York. Get out of Earth. You are not welcome here. Bang, bang, bang. Sheriff George kept shooting at Thanos with his pistol. However, it was useless to anger Thanos by doing this, and the pistol could not hurt Thanos at all. Aunt, I want you to die. Finally, Sheriff George succeeded, and Thanos dropped Gwen. He rushed towards Sheriff George at extremely fast speeds. No, Gwen shouted from behind. However, at this moment, she could do nothing. Boom! Thanos punched Sheriff George in the body. Sheriff George's body was directly blown away. He hit a wall behind him. You know, Sheriff George is just an ordinary person. Father, Gwen could no longer care about the pain in her body and ran towards Sheriff George quickly. Father, are you okay? Gwen held Chief George in her arms. Now, she no longer cared about hiding her identity from Chief George. Ahem. Chief George spit out 2 mouthfuls of blood. Kid, live on haha. If possible, I don't want you to become a superhero, but I would rather you be an ordinary girl. Sheriff George said with some difficulty. The blow just now had completely damaged his internal organs. I am still alive now just by relying on my thoughts to hold on for a breath. What a pity, I can no longer protect you, and I will never see my future grandson. Sheriff George even had a smile on his face at the end. No, Dad, you'll be okay. Gwen cried, feeling Sheriff George's life force slowly passing away in his arms. Gwen was desperate. Who can come and help her? Look up into the sky. Queen Angel suddenly sat motionless on the throne for some reason, and the remaining angels were also unable to protect themselves. The whole city was enveloped in flames. All the superheroes around were defeated. Iron Man's armor has completely lost its ability to attack. Hulk and Thor also fell at Thanos' feet. There is no one left to help her. Gwen, don't cry, you are a superhero. You have to be strong. Sheriff George raised his hand with difficulty, trying to touch Gwen's face. If you can survive, remember that you must replace your father and protect your mother and brothers. Yeah, Gwen nodded desperately with tears in her eyes. What a touching scene. Thanos walked towards Gwen step by step with heavy steps. He is the messenger of death and never cares about the life or death of others. In his opinion, offending him would lead to death. Angel deserves to die, these superheroes deserve to die, and so do those people on Earth. Thanos grabbed Gwen's head and lifted it up. Sheriff George on the ground has completely lost his life. Boom! Thanos stretched out his big foot and kicked Sheriff George's body away. Now, it's your turn. Thanos said gloomily to Gwen. Call out. A shrill bird call came. A fire phoenix reborn from the ashes seemed to appear in the sky. In Gwen's critical moment, Chin activated her phoenix force without reservation. Breaking free from the shackles of Ebony Maw and Supergiant. In fact, the person controlling Chin's body now is no longer Chin's original personality. Phew! Fire Phoenix let out a series of piercing screams, and then rushed towards Mielu. Phoenix Force, the original emotional power of the universe. If the entire Phoenix Force were to attack, Thanos would be instantly burned to ashes without even a chance to resist. But there is only one Phoenix Force inside the piano. As for Chin now, even if she explodes with all her strength, she has not fully released the power of the Phoenix Force. However, it is the Phoenix Force after all. Thanos cannot help but be careless. Roar! Thanos throws Gwen out of his hand. Then he collided with the Phoenix Force brazenly. Boom! The aftermath of terror spread to the surroundings. The aftermath of the Phoenix Force is also the flame of the Phoenix. Even if it's a little bit contaminated, it can also destroy a building. Ahem. Gwen spit out a mouthful of blood and no longer had the strength to get up. Sister Chin. Looking at Chin in the distance, black flames were constantly emitting. How much Gwen wanted him to escape, find Brother Vegito, and leave here forever. However, she really had no strength left. Maybe she shouldn't have brought Sister Chin here. Gwen thought to herself. For my superhero dream. Her father is dead, her companions are in danger, and now even Sister Chin is in crisis for her own sake. The Phoenix Force is indeed very powerful. Even if Jean cannot fully activate her own Phoenix Force, it can still make Thanos feel troublesome. Definitely, it's just tricky. Thanos stabilized his figure, and the flame was pushed back inch by Thanos. Despair, endless despair enveloped everyone. Looking at the flames in the sky that were pushed back inch by Thanos. Everyone couldn't help but fall into despair. Thor stood up with difficulty. Walked to Rogers, Captain of the United States, and helped Rogers up. Is there anything else you can do? Tony Stark on the other side also stood up with difficulty. The steel armor on his body has completely turned into a pile of scrap metal. Director Nick Fury, can you hear me? After being silent for a while, the Captain of the United States suddenly spoke through the SHIELD communication channel. I'm here, Captain, do you need any assistance? Nick Fury immediately answered. He has been following this battle. Now it seems that the Earth has reached the end of its rope. He couldn't think of any way to help the Earth turn defeat into victory. Lock the summons machine in his hand. Even if Captain Marvel is back, Nick Fury has no chance of winning. Director, I request that nuclear bombs be launched on the city of New York. The more the better. Rogers paused, then spoke, his tone full of determination. Are you crazy, Captain? Tony Stark asked Rogers in surprise. Launch nuclear bombs, the more the better. That would simply give up the entire city of New York and millions of ordinary people. We were defeated and there was no hope of victory. Rogers said in a low voice. The taste of failure is unpleasant, especially at the moment. Failure means the fall of the entire Earth. The only way now is to kill Thanos. Even if we use us, the entire city of New York will be buried with him. As long as Thanos dies, the Earth will be fine. Rogers pointed at the dark cult in the sky and said excitedly. Otherwise, the entire Earth will fall. According to Thanos, he will destroy all people on Earth. We can die, but the Earth cannot perish, and humans cannot perish. There is no other solution now except nuclear bombs. Rogers said with some despair. Yes, who would want to give up everyone in New York until the last moment? However, Thanos is too powerful, so powerful that it makes people despair. Short of nuclear weapons, the United States captain could think of no other solution. I agree. A moment later, Tony Stark took the lead in speaking on the Avengers public channel. We can die, but New York cannot fall. Otherwise, Thanos' army will use New York as a springboard to invade the entire Earth step by step. That's right. If I reconsider, wouldn't it mean death? There's nothing I can't fight. At the moment, Hulk has completely transformed back into Dr. Banner. He was already dead. It's just that I haven't had the chance. Now that I can sacrifice myself for the Earth, it couldn't be better. It's infinitely better than squatting in a corner and committing suicide. I agree too. Natasha Romanoff also nodded. She is just an ordinary person with better skills. She cannot play an absolute role in this battle. Even when fighting Thanos, he can't help much. But Natasha Romanoff is no less determined than anyone else in her dedication to the planet. Okay, I understand the situation. I will report it to the boss. In fact, it's not just Nick Fury, the entire United States, no, the top brass of the entire planet are paying attention to this battle. The United States captain's suggestions were quickly reported up. As early as the beginning, when the Chitauri invaded, the top leaders of the United States had already agreed to use nuclear weapons, let alone now. Originally, the use of nuclear weapons required layers of approval and negotiation before they could be used. But now, with the rapid operation of governments of various countries prepared for launch at an extremely fast speed, everyone, I have a good news for you, but also a very heavy news. Nick Fury's voice sounded from SHIELD's built-in voice for Avengers. With assistance from various countries, 100 nuclear bombs have been launched and are expected to arrive in New York within 10 to 15 minutes. Nick Fury said with a serious expression. 100 nuclear bombs, so much explosives, would be enough to blow up the city of New York. No, to be precise, it exploded into the sky dozens of times. As an expert on explosives, no one understands the power of nuclear bombs better than Tony Stark. If these nuclear bombs spread out and exploded, they would be enough to destroy the entire United States. Even if they explode together, they are enough to shake the entire North American continent. However, humans now have no other choice. Perhaps, after today, New York City will be a desperate place with no land left to grow. But for the sake of all humanity, the necessary sacrifices are worth it. In the sky, Chin could no longer hold on. The energy in her body was excessively consumed, causing her to fall down, no longer able to hold on. Guys, we have 10 minutes left, we have to find a way to hold Thanos back. The captain of the United States picked up the shattered shield in his hand. Facing the powerful Thanos, not only did he have no intention of retreating, but he was full of fighting spirit. Yes, I don't know how long it has been, and I haven't experienced such a desperate battle. Thor limped to his feet and recalled his Mjolnir again. But I promised you in advance that I won't fight with you. Although Thor said this, he did not take a step back. Iron Man's Mark V is completely scrapped. However, he still has the Mark IV. Oh, I never dreamed that I could die in such a cool way. Dr. Banner also tried again to make himself angry and transform into the Hulk state. However, Hulk, not the Hulk, is unwilling to face Thanos again. No, do not want. No one could have imagined that at the critical moment, Hulk would give up. He changed back to his Banner form. At the same time, communicate with Banner in your mind. When you meet this big purple guy in the future, don't call him the same person you used to lament about the long tail. The sudden change gave the Avengers a head-on blow. Hulk can be said to be one of the most powerful fighters among them. Now I'm scared even before I fight. Who can withstand this? Are you ready to die? Thanos, however, had no intention of giving them a chance to prepare. On Earth, Thanos has encountered too many unpleasant things. You, Angel, Kesha, all of you are going to die. Thanos roared. Today, everyone on Earth will be his death sacrifice. Roar. Thanos unleashes his invincible power wantonly. It was so powerful that it made everyone feel despair. Just at this moment, a cross flywheel flew from outer space at an extremely fast speed. Sir, be careful. Corvus Glaive, who noticed the cross flywheel for the first time, wanted to block it for Thanos. But it was directly cut in half by the cross flywheel. The speed of the cross flywheel did not slow down at all, and continued to attack Thanos. From the moment she saw Xingming, Kesha knew that Hexy had arrived. Who are you anyway? In the pocket space created by Annihilation himself, a huge palm tore the space apart. Reach out and grab Annihilation. The volume of Annihilation is already huge enough, at least much larger than a galaxy. But now, in front of that huge amount of palm, it looks like a doll. Come back to my body. Huge amounts of Annihilation were grabbed in the palm of the hand, and then stuffed into his mouth. Annihilation struggled desperately, but it still had no effect. After fighting Vegito, he was too weak. So weak that he completely lost the ability to resist in this mysterious big hand. Annihilation regretted it. He could feel that even in his prime, he could not defeat the other party. He felt that the other party could really kill him. But at least he won't be as helpless as he is now. He could at least notify the other creation gods to help him. It's a pity that even the creator gods don't have the medicine to regret. If he could do it over again, he would definitely not waste so much of his original power with Vegito just for that ridiculous dignity. In despair, annihilation was swallowed in one gulp. When, click, the monster in the void let out a terrifying scream. The entire pocket space that originally belonged to annihilation began to collapse. Immediately afterwards, the figure disappeared into the void. Everything returned to calm, as if nothing had ever happened. What's wrong? Why did you stop suddenly? Infinite, who was walking in the universe, looked at Vegito, who suddenly stopped and asked strangely. The energy of annihilation has just disappeared, Vegito said with a frown. He began to wonder if there was an unknown god who took action against annihilation after they left. Otherwise, how could there be so many gods in the universe who could modify the dark plane data at will and hurt Liang Bing with just one look? Isn't that normal? Annihilation should have hid in his pocket space to recuperate. Infinitely said with certainty. The creation god is originally a dragon that never sees its end, so how can it be so easy to find it? Moreover, annihilation was seriously injured, wouldn't it be normal to find a place to hide? Infinite words clearly did not convince Vegito. Eternity and infinity both live in their own space, but Vegito can still easily find their energy. But now, in Vegito's perception, the energy of annihilation has completely disappeared. Rather than hiding, Vegito felt that it was more like death dispersing. However, who in this universe can easily kill a creation god? Even a seriously injured creation god is still a god. Actually, you don't have to be so nervous. Each of the creation gods is an old monster that has lived for tens of billions of years. It is normal to have some secret methods and trump cards. Eternal also comforted him. Okay, compared to Vegito's guess, Eternal words are obviously more convincing. After all, the 5 creation gods have continued from the beginning of the universe to the present. How can it be killed so easily? Now it seems that it should be annihilation. What special means were used to hide it? Let's go, brother Vegito. I still have a gift to give you. After saying that, Infinite took Vegito's hand and ran towards the distance. On Earth, New York City. A cross flywheel was burning and slashing at an extremely fast speed. Waves of tearing air sounds sounded. The cross flywheel carries unparalleled power and kills Thanos. Even someone as powerful as Thanos can still perceive the terrifying power of the cross flywheel. Thanos ducked quickly. The buildings behind him were like paper, easily chopped into pieces by the cross flywheel. Immediately afterwards, the cross flywheel rotated back in the high air and continued to rush towards the fire. What's going on? The Avengers Alliance group, who had originally planned to fight to the death, were completely stunned. Thanos, the invincible Thanos in their eyes, was completely suppressed by a weapon at this moment. There was a bone-deep scar on Thanos' hand, which was the result of his just trying to conquer the star. Now, facing the menacing star fate, Thanos can only passively dodge, without any means at all. The only way is to find out the murderer behind the scenes. It seems that this enemy is good at long-range attacks, and generally people who are good at long-range attacks are not very good at melee combat. Who? A hidden person who has the ability to come out and fight. Thanos roared loudly into the sky. However, Thanos guessed wrong. The reason why Hexie had no floor was not because she was not good at melee combat, but simply because she just didn't come. A master of the Divine King level dare not even show his face. Thanos ran away in embarrassment and roared to the sky. No one appeared in the starry sky, but Xingming stopped attacking the enemy. Suspended on the horizon, it began to rotate rapidly. A violent tornado appeared in the sky with Xingming as its core. Apparently, she knew that Starfate alone would not be able to defeat the fire tyrant in a short period of time. So, she decided to help the angels in the sky first. The most elite dark cult under Thanos is like an ant in his eye's star. Tornadoes raged in the sky, and all the dark cults were wiped out. Even if a few fish slip through the net occasionally, the remaining guard-level angels will not be able to make any waves. Ha! A smile appeared on Kesha's lips. It seems that today's affairs are coming to an end. Master. Looking at the many tricks in the sky, Jishin also realized that her master had arrived. What happened? Who took action against Thanos again? Even everyone in the Avengers was completely stunned. The army that filled the sky was defeated so easily. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. He roared into the sky. These members of the Dark Order are completely different from the cannon fodder Chidori just now. The Dark Order is the core and most elite army of all the major forces in the universe invaded by Thanos. But now, it was solved so easily by others. It's hard for anyone to accept it for a while. Who is it? I will make your life worse than death. Thanos roared at the sky. Oh, is it so? A disdainful snort came from the sky. Exactly, she has arrived. She slowly descended from the sky, with silver hair reaching his waist and a hint of anger on his beautiful face. The essence flows through the sky, and the jade face is smooth and smooth. He kept his words in his mouth but didn't spit them out, his breath was like orchid. Warong and graceful, like a fairy from the 9 heavens descending to earth. Hexy's appearance was not as grand as Kesha's, but it gave people a more shocking feeling. Who are you? Thanos looked warily at the woman in front of him who was so beautiful that even he felt a little bit depressed. Angel, Tianji King, Hexy. A majestic and ethereal voice sounded from the void. It seemed as if the whole world was cheering for Hexy's arrival. The sky illuminates the earth, and the sun drives away the haze. The terrifying Wea descended on Thanos. When everyone was in despair, Angel appeared again. Oh my God, she is so beautiful, countless people exclaimed. Another Angel King has arrived, and the earth seems to be saved again. What a mess, what a man. Hexy ignored Thanos immediately when he arrived, but turned to Kesha and said, Ahem. Seeing his arrival, Kesha could no longer control her injuries. You old goblin, why are you so slow? If you come a little later, you will have to collect the corpse for me. Kesha didn't mind teasing Hexy. There was a hint of relaxation in his tone. The surrounding angels were shocked. They have never seen their queen look like this. King Tianji, what is that? Everyone on the earth was dumbfounded. Angel civilization has more than one king. But she is so beautiful. It turns out that Angel is more than a God King level master. Thor also said with emotion. If this Tianji King had half the combat power that Kesha showed, then Angel would be enough to be called the most powerful race in the universe. Even as far more than Asgard. After all, Asgard only has one God King level master. Thor didn't know that there were actually 2 God King masters in Asgard, but one of them was sealed by his father himself. Tianji King. Thanos obviously has not heard of Angel and these 2 kings. Definitely, this is also caused by Hexy being too homely. Unless there is an unexpected situation, she usually will not leave her palace. Living in seclusion, Kesha usually handles the affairs of Angel's group. Except this time, there are almost no situations that Kesha can't solve and she needs to take action. It seems that he should be a newly promoted king, and his strength should not be comparable to Kesha. Why? Thanos narrowed his eyes and thought subconsciously. The reason why she has not been heard of is that he has just been promoted to the realm of God King, so his reputation is not obvious. How dare he not take the overlord of the universe into his eyes? Thanos decided to tell she that there were differences between the gods and kings. Like him and Kesha, even if you are also a God King, you all have to stay here today. Thanos said very arrogantly. In his opinion, a master who has just been promoted to the level of God King is still an angel who is good at long-range attacks. It would have been a bit tricky to attack him while hiding, but now he appeared in front of him unscrupulously. Then don't blame him. Thanos should teach the other party what the cruelty of the universe is. Roar! Thanos jumped up, and the ground beneath his feet cracked inch by inch. The best way to deal with the God King who is good at long-range attacks is to get close to him and then attack at close range. Just like a shooter fighting a warrior, at a sufficient distance, the warrior cannot defeat the shooter. But at close range, how could an archer holding a bow and arrow be a match for a warrior holding a broadsword? She snorted disdainfully, but did not run away in a hurry as Thanos thought. A gorgeous long sword appeared in his hand. The wings behind him shook, and she, holding a long sword in his hand, rushed towards Thanos. The silver figure is as light as a young swallow, her wrist rotates gently, and the sword of King's Fate in her hand flashes as fast as lightning. The sword is shining, but it integrates with the woman's silver and weak figure. The extremely gorgeous swordsmanship defeated Mieda step by step. For a time, the entire sky was filled with silver-white sword light. Hexy was the first swordsman among angels 30,000 years ago, and he was a rare swordsman in the universe. Let's not talk about today 30,000 years later. Hexy's sword can target Thanos' weakness with every blow. This made Thanos become more and more embarrassed. After a while, it was full of flaws. Ding! With another sword strike, Thanos' golden helmet was thrown away. Anyone can see that Thanos was once again beaten by the new silver-haired king of angels who appeared in the sky. Roar! Thanos never imagined that the Tianji in front of him was so strong. So strong that he has gradually begun to lose the ability to resist. Hexy's swordsmanship is really too powerful. Thanos could only barely parry. Roar! Thanos burst out with a powerful momentum, and then quickly exited the battle circle. In the battle just now, Thanos could feel that the other party seemed to be playing with him, just like an adult deliberately playing games with a child. Thanos felt such terror in Hexy. This Hexy's real combat power will not be weaker than Kesha's. Thanos' heart is that he has orange peel and he doesn't know whether to use it as pulp or not. Are all the Angel King's monsters? One peak God King level is all that matters, but there are two of them, and one is more terrifying than the other. Today's Thanos was beaten by two Angel Kings in turn. No one else would be happy. Isn't this going to work? I just thought it was a little more fun. Looking at Thanos, who was all in a state of embarrassment, his eyes showed a trace of contempt, and he almost couldn't help laughing. As if sensing Hexy's contempt, Thanos' anger rose again. He is Thanos, the cosmic overlord who controls the universe. Now, on this small planet like Earth, I am repeatedly bullied and scorned. Anyone else would be mentally unbalanced. Roar! Thanos roared and rushed towards He-She again. He-She raised his sword lightly and knocked Thanos to the ground easily. Roar! The ground beneath Thanos' feet cracked inch by inch. This time, he flew back at a faster speed. Boom, boom, boom. After a while, several large pits appeared on the ground. Judging from the body shape, it should all be caused by Thanos' body. Only then did everyone realize that He-She was just teasing Mie. It's so violent. No one can believe that his eyes petite and soft body actually hides such huge amounts of power. At this moment, Thanos was completely like a helpless child in front of He-She. Beat to death or cripple. Hexy, who was beating Thanos violently, still had time to turn around and ask Kesha casually. Kesha touched her chin and looked thoughtful. How about you cripple me first and then ask me for another option? Kesha replied, pretending to be naughty. Pissed. Looking at each other and smiling, Kesha and Hexy couldn't help laughing. Yeah, great. Now the Earth can be saved. Even the Avengers couldn't help but laugh from the bottom of their hearts. Thanos was defeated so easily, doesn't it mean that the Earth can be saved? They don't need to die pointlessly. I think I will also believe in Angel for the rest of my life. Looking at the beautiful Hexy, Rogers, the captain of the United States, couldn't help but murmured. Angel, save the Earth from water and fire again and again. Simply the savior of the Earth. Captain, I might want to remind you that we are not safe yet. Tony Stark suddenly said to the remaining people with a serious look on his face. Thanos is no longer a match for the silver-haired Queen Angel. What else can threaten us? No, there is, Tony Stark said firmly. Director, how long will it take for the 100 nuclear bombs to reach New York? Tony Stark suddenly asked Nick Fury on the communication. At this time, everyone finally realized the problem. 100 nuclear bombs are really creating a cocoon for you. The captain of the United States was also a little annoyed. If he had known that there was another Angel King coming back, why would he have requested to launch a nuclear bomb? He was simply looking for trouble. Lifting a rock and hitting your teammates in the foot. Moreover, this time the nuclear bomb is not the first one that is dropped by bombers. It will not explode as long as it does not hit something. Instead, countries with nuclear weapons take over the launch platform and launch. The kind that automatically explodes when it reaches its destination. Director Nick Fury, how long will it take for the nuclear bomb to arrive? Rogers asked Nick Fury. I don't know. Due to the different launch locations of various nuclear bombs, there will be a certain error in the estimated arrival. However, the fastest nuclear bomb will probably arrive in less than 1 minute, and the slowest one will arrive in no more than 2 minutes. Nick Fury explained truthfully. It's over. Now we're completely finished. Tony Stark sat on the ground in despair. That many nuclear missiles are enough to blow the entire New York into the sky dozens of times. What can they do to resist? All the superheroes felt regretful. They knew that as long as they stood and watched the show, someone would come to deal with Thanos, but now, why are they seeking death? No, Angel has already paid enough for the Earth. We can't let Angel die in our nuclear bomb. Rogers suddenly stood up and said firmly. Then, he strode forward. He ran towards the battlefield between He-She and Thanos. Captain is right. We are not qualified to let Angel sacrifice for us. Tony Stark also agreed, and then followed the pace of the Captain of the United States. Hey, Sister Angel, get out of here quickly. In less than a minute, hundreds of nuclear bombs will explode here. Rogers ran closer and shouted to Hexie in the sky. Huh, He-She glanced at Rogers in confusion. Then he opened his own eyes of insight. It only took a moment to figure out what happened. 100 nuclear bombs. He-She shook his head slightly. The most advanced weapon of pre-nuclear civilization was the nuclear bomb. Unfortunately, for a God King level expert, a nuclear bomb is almost the same as a larger firecracker. Take Thanos for example. Compared with the power of a nuclear bomb explosion, the truly terrifying thing about a nuclear bomb is its radiation. The radiation range is dozens of times greater than the explosion range. And within hundreds of years, the area radiated by mobile games will be completely barren. Thanos himself is completely immune to all radiation. There are instructions in the Marvel Universe comics. In other words, if the nuclear bomb cannot kill Thanos in one go, it will not cause any harm to Thanos. And with Thanos' terrifying defense power, it's really not impossible to kill him just by relying on the explosion ability of a nuclear bomb. Please be quiet for a while first. He-She stretched out his hand and touched the void lightly. A void barrier began to appear in the space around Thanos. The terrifying pressure restrained Thanos tightly. The space around Thanos began to squeeze, forming a new space barrier. Completely surround the destruction chamber. Rewrite the space definition and rewrite the target space temperature. The entire space began to get extremely warm. Thanos struggled to get out, but the barrier of space was extremely hard. It's useless. As long as the power you use cannot break my space barrier, it will only be used to strengthen the space barrier, making the space barrier stronger. Looking at Thanos struggling in space, He-She said calmly. As long as Thanos' attack does not reach the defense limit of the space barrier in the first place, then the energy used by Thanos will automatically strengthen the space barrier. Boom, boom, boom. Thanos continued to blast away at the formidable barrier. Countless gravel splashed, and those gravels were turned into a piece of soda water by the terrifyingly high temperature in the space in almost a moment. Even Thanos' astonishingly strong body began to shed a fine layer of sweat. The temperature in the entire space has reached the surface temperature of fixed star, and it is constantly increasing. In the distance on the horizon, the first nuclear bomb has arrived, followed closely by intercontinental missiles fired from all directions. If such a large amount of explosives exploded completely, it would be enough to cause irreversible effects on the Earth. On the horizon, tactical missiles dragged their long tails across the sky, flying towards the city center of New York. He-She gently raised his sleeves. It is impossible for these nuclear bombs to harm her, but there will probably be no survivors among the humans on the ground. Angel's order of justice does not allow her to stand by and watch such things happen, not to mention that she, Hexie, is not the type of person to ignore death. The first nuclear bomb successfully sailed into New York. However, it stopped the moment it entered New York. It just stopped in midair. It was as if someone was holding him in place. Boom. Immediately afterwards, a burst of explosions sounded from the air. It's over. Tony Stark's heart froze as he watched the nuclear bomb explode in the air. With the explosive power of a nuclear bomb, even in the sky, this distance is enough to cause devastating damage on the ground. Boom. The nuclear bomb eventually exploded. However, the result is slightly different from what everyone imagined. What is a nuclear bomb? There is no other strongest weapon that human civilization has developed so far. But what did everyone see? That nuclear bomb in the sky did explode. However, it did not usher in the devastating power as imagined. Boom. Even from a great distance, you can still hear the deafening sound. It's just that the power is a little different from what everyone thinks. In his hands, the terrifying nuclear bomb was compressed to an explosion range of only a few meters in diameter. A nuclear bomb exploded over New York like a firework. How? How is this possible? Everyone looked at the scene in front of them in disbelief. That's a nuclear bomb. It's not firework. Could it be that this is a dumb cannon? The captain of the United States asked tentatively. During World War II, he also witnessed the power of nuclear bombs. After nearly 100 years of development, the power of nuclear bombs now should be no less powerful than in the past. How is that possible? Tony Stark immediately retorted. You know, the production process of every nuclear bomb is extremely precise. How can it be possible to make a dumb cannon? But in his tone of voice, he even believed in what the captain of the United States said. After all, apart from this explanation, he really couldn't think of any other result. Could it be that it was really a defective nuclear bomb made by a department with substandard technology? Definitely, even if this nuclear bomb is really a dumb cannon, everyone will not be happy at all. Because, the remaining nuclear bombs also arrived in New York City one by one. So many nuclear bombs, enough to blow up the entire United States. Not to mention such a concentrated and dense explosion. However, the remaining nuclear bombs also stopped in the sky one by one. Boom, there was another muffled sound. Another nuclear bomb exploded, no different from the first one. If one is accidental in a squib, what about two? What about three? They can't all be squibs. Tony Stark even saw the violent nuclear fusion reaction in the nuclear bomb exploding like firework in the sky through the telescopic observation system in his suit. No, these nuclear bombs are not dumb bombs. It's more like being locked in a glass cover the size of a few square meters of file. Tony Stark said. However, this answer is simply more unacceptable than the nuclear bomb being a dumb bomb. What kind of glass cover can withstand the explosion of a nuclear bomb? Even vibranium, the hardest metal on Earth, doesn't have this ability. Let alone ordinary glass. No one told them that bulletproof glass can protect against nuclear bombs. But the fact is, Tony Stark saw it. After the nuclear bomb explodes, a violent nuclear fusion reaction occurs, but it cannot cross the space barrier. Nuclear fusion continues to occur in a limited environment until it is extinguished. That's right, she created a small space at random. Then the nuclear bomb was locked in and exploded in space. Not to mention the power of the explosion, not even a trace of radiation could spread. Bang, 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 bursts of muffled noises rang out from the sky over New York. Today, survivors throughout New York watched the firework caused by the nuclear bomb. Oh my God, this is a miracle, Tony Stark said in disbelief. That's a nuclear bomb, nuclear weapons. Now, it turned into a blossoming firework in the hands of the silver-haired Angel King. She waved his hand casually, and all the smoke in the sky disappeared. It was as if nothing had happened. Captain of the United States, at the moment his jaw couldn't close at all. Such a miracle, such a powerful angel, or all angels perverts? Not just everyone in the Avengers Alliance. The high-level officials of the entire Earth have seen that the nuclear weapons they are proud of are not even as good as a firework in front of Angel. What a sad thing. If Angel wants to take action against the Earth that day, the Earth may not be able to resist. Everyone began to feel grateful for Angel's stance. At least Angel is on the Earth's side, isn't that great? At the same time, everyone finally realized why Kesha said she was God's will. What is such power if not God's will? Imagine if Kesha really ignored the opinions of the Earth and used the Earth as a battlefield to start an interstellar war with the devil. So what power does the Earth have to resist? It seems that I have to tell my father in the future not to be an enemy of Angel. Thor also said happily. Fortunately, the three views of Angel civilization and Asgard civilization are not much different, so they should be able to get along very well. With the combat power Angel has shown now, if he really chooses to invade Asgard. The two Angel Kings at the peak of the God King level were able to press Asgard to the ground and rub him. At the same time, Thor finally understood why his father had repeatedly warned him that there was no need to offend Angel. At that time, the young and energetic Thor did not listen to these words, and even thought about challenging Angel one day to see who was the most powerful civilization in the universe. That civilization has the most powerful warriors in the universe. At that time, it was believed that angel civilization only had women and no war kings at all. Now it seems that this guy is braver than Valkyrie. Not to mention that the two angel kings took turns pressing Thanos to the ground and rubbing him. Just the angel Yan in front of him, with his god-level strength, he single-handedly defeated the god king Thanos for so long. Moreover, before the incident, Yan had resisted several Star Destroyer cannons by himself. Is that really something that ordinary gods can do? Even as a god, Thor always felt that he could beat himself. After all, the strength Yan showed was too inhuman. Even Thor would believe Yan if he said he was a god king. Thanos, who was imprisoned by Tianji King Hexi, was sweating profusely at the moment. On the body, the exposed skin has been burned to pieces. Roar! Thanos roared and rushed into the sky. Spider web-like cracks appeared on the ground under his feet the moment Thanos took off. Boom! A bolt of thunder fell from the sky, and Thanos was blasted back to where he was. Thanos fell down and became scared for the first time. Incomparably terrifying power gathered at Mie Lei Feng. Thanos knew that if he didn't get out, he would probably die here. Now, Thanos feels as if he is in fixed star. Huge amounts of heat are enough to turn steel into soda. Roar! A shocking punch hit the space barrier created by He-She. The whole earth is shaking. The clouds also turned into layers of waves under the violent vibrations. The aftermath of the shock caused the entire ground to shake left and right. The entire city was shaken violently like an 8-magnitude earthquake. Cracks appeared in the space barrier in front of Thanos. This is the power of Thanos, the overlord of the universe. One punch is comparable to the power of a nuclear bomb explosion. No, Thanos' fist is even more powerful than a nuclear bomb explosion. After all, the explosion of the nuclear bomb did not cause any cracks in the space barrier created by He-She. However, everyone has seen that Thanos, who possesses such terrifying strength, is like a newborn child in front of the King of Angels, showing no resistance at all. Thanos couldn't help but look happy on his face. But then, the cracks repaired themselves at an extremely fast speed. Thanos is desperate. He and He-She are not at the same level as opponents. The invincible Thanos fell. The moment he closed his eyes, he seemed to see Lady Death waving to him. "I'm sorry, Death, I didn't fulfill your instructions," Thanos murmured in a low voice, and then completely lost consciousness. Everyone who has fought against Thanos, Nuo Li Jiao, can clearly perceive Thanos' power. After all, they knew how powerful Thanos was before. All superheroes put together are not Thanos' enemy. Thanos, who was like a Mephisto, was easily beaten in front of Kesha, and then Hexi came, and was played by Hexi like a child. However, Thanos, who was so powerful, now fell in front of He-She, completely losing any ability to resist. The humans on Earth, who had watched the entire battle, had thoroughly seen how powerful Angel was. That kind of invincible power. Just like a god in mythology. No, they are gods in mythology. Angel, 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 Angel hail. All of New York is calling for Angel. The entire United States is calling for Angel, and even the entire Earth, invariably, voices shouting for Angel are heard. The power of the space gem. He-She suddenly looked in the direction of Thanos. At the moment Thanos has completely lost any ability to resist. The injury was not serious. However, at this moment, he suddenly felt the power of Mage. Without waiting for Hexi's reaction, Thanos disappeared in place. Someone used the space gem to take away his property. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.